Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 Moving. Gold devouring bug advances to Yuanying. Listening to the text of yin-yang transformation, Xuanji said, yin-yang transformation is the fundamental practice of the hell and demon vein. However, after a long time, the content of the text has been constantly tampered with and modified. There are about dozens of versions of the text of yin-yang transformation, with different flavors and development directions. These texts are hard to tell whether they are true or false, but I just heard your text, but I have some doubts. This is the original version. As he said that, Xuanji read out 3 versions of yin-yang transformation. One version of yin-yang transformation focuses on collecting and replenishing, another version of yin-yang transformation focuses on transformation, and another version of yin-yang transformation focuses on yin and yang. Among these versions, half of the content of yin-yang transformation overlaps, and half of the content is different. Yuanying listened to these versions of yin-yang transformation and frowned slightly. These versions are obviously not as powerful as that version. Could it be that it is really the original version? Yuanying said. Maybe, maybe not. Xuanji said, I can only confirm that this version is of a higher grade than many versions. Even if it is not the original version, it is a higher grade version. If the news is known by the hell and demon vein of U state, you will be in big trouble. Yuanying nodded. Leaving this topic aside, the two talked and giggled again, and soon became close sisters. 3 years later, when everyone left, Xuanji was slightly reluctant. This time, he would be away from the Lu family for a long time, and could not return to the Lu family. This is a good thing for the Lu family. At least, in the eyes of many enemies, the status of the Lu family in his heart will decline. The attack on the Lu family will also be relatively low. If he continues to live in the Lu family, he may encounter various attacks every few days, and the Lu family will also be in constant disaster. Xuanji, the Lu family will live a stable life without you. When children grow up, parents must learn to let go. Similarly, when a family develops to a certain level, it must also learn to let go. Xuanji said, there are some things that you can't do too much. Doing too much is not good. I also understand the reason, but I'm just a little reluctant. Xuanji said, let's go. The flying boat was moving forward and disappeared in the clouds. It was just a moment before they arrived at Xiang Mountain and the flying boat stopped. Xuanji arranged everything. Xuanji lived in a nearby cave, and they were very close to each other. There was also a formation blocking it, so even if a Yuanying lurker wanted to break through here, it would take a certain amount of time. Entering the cave, feeling Xuanji's enthusiasm and a little affection, Xuanji felt a little ashamed in his heart. He was practicing the technique and breathing in the spiritual energy. Suddenly, the spiritual energy rolled in and continued to enter his body and be refined, turning into a trace of mellow magic power, nourishing his body and strengthening his ki and blood. He was tempering every detail of his flesh, bones, skin, internal organs, meridians, etc. Round after round, he was constantly tempering his body. His cultivation was slowly improving. At the same time, he was also summarizing that battle. In that battle, he relied on a long sword to kill everything, breaking all kinds of killing moves, and once again demonstrated the majesty of that supreme magical power. He had mastered the power of the 5 element, the power of yin and yang, and the power of the primordial magnetism, but he was a little bit behind in controlling the power of time and space. In the attack of magic, he had more than enough explosive power and strong destructive power, but he had certain deficiencies in skills. Swish. A 7-color divine sword appeared on his palm, and the sword light was flashing and dancing up and down. The murderous aura was surging, destroying everything. Not right, not right. There is something wrong with the rune combination here. There is too much power of the 5 element here, which is not coordinated with the power of yin and yang. There is too much power of the primordial magnetic field here. It's not right, not right. Lu Xuanji continued to comprehend, constantly combining various runes, reorganizing various powers, and constantly making new arrangements and combinations, rune adjustments. There is no strongest practice in the world, only the practice that suits you best. Many cultivators modify the practice of their predecessors and evolve their own practice. Their own practice is often not as good as that of their predecessors, but there are still people who continue to create their own practice because it is suitable. The one that suits you is the best. You don't know whether the shoes are suitable, but your feet know. After constantly adjusting and combining, he finally ended his comprehension after 3 months. But at this moment, the 7-color long road was dancing, and its power was increased by a full level compared to the past. Not bad. Not bad. Lu Xuanji was happy, with indescribable joy. At this time, in terms of moves and magical powers, and in terms of rune combinations, it is very different from the Great 5-element yin-yang universe magnetic starlight extinction divine sword. It is not that it has surpassed it, but that it has become more suitable for me. The strongest is not as good as the one that suits me best. The cheetah is fast, so if I transplant the cheetah's legs, I can run as fast as the cheetah. This is impossible. Take out the good and study something. At this moment, there was a squeak in the storage bag, and a fist-sized flying insect flew out of the insect jar. It has golden wings, cute eyes, and a round golden body, like a chubby baby. It is the gold-eating insect. But at this moment, the breath of the gold-eating insect is changing, emitting a trace of pressure. It is the Yuanying demon. The gold-eating insect once again broke the shackles of race, broke the limit of life, and became a Yuanying demon beast. Open the formation, move the gold-eating insect outside the formation, and start to survive the Yuanying tribulation. In the heavenly tribulation, lightning and thunder bombarded down. The power of the heavenly tribulation is very low, only equivalent to the first turn of the golden elixir. Still very weak. Lu Xuanji was speechless. The thunder tribulation of the gold-eating insect was pitifully weak. The power of the first heavenly tribulation was only the killing power of the first turn of the golden elixir. The power of the 9th heavenly tribulation was only the 5th turn of the golden elixir. In just 100 years, he entered the nascent soul realm. The speed was a bit fast, but the combat power was still low. The combat power of the gold-eating insect in the early stage of the nascent soul was only the 6th turn of the golden elixir, which could be called the weakest golden nascent soul monster in history. Its existence lowered the bottom line of the nascent soul monster. This cannot be blamed on it, but the lower limit and combat power of the insect are too low. It's like in Daoluo, a certain insect of 100-year-old soul beast can be called the soul beast with the worst combat power, no doubt about it. Squeak. As the golden light flashed, a fist-sized bee landed on his shoulder. Lu Xuanji reached out and stroked the golden bug, feeling the changes in its body. There was a force flowing inside, and there was a Yuanying in its body, proving that it was a Yuanying demon beast. The gold-eating bug was already a Yuanying demon beast, and the mana in its body was only 60 Jiazi. At this time, Lu Xuanji was only at the 4th level of the golden elixir, and his mana reached 900 Jiazi. Chapter 352, Insect Raising Good, Golden Elixir 5th Transformation. After reaching the golden core stage, the strength of a cultivator depends on his mana, magic weapon, magical power, secret technique, fighting will, state of mind, understanding of the great Dao, geographical environment, etc. The so-called mana is only one of the standards for measuring cultivators, and there is no absolute strength or weakness. But mana is still one of the important indicators for measuring the strength of a cultivator. Among human cultivators, the mana of the early golden core stage is 100 Jiazi, the mana of the early nascent soul stage is 1000 Jiazi, and the mana of the early god transformation stage is 10,000 Jiazi. This is the standard for humans. But in those top level divine beasts, the mana is even higher than that of humans. According to legend, the mana of the Kunpeng lineage is the most powerful, and it can be called the king of mana. The mana of the early golden core stage is 300 Jiazi, the mana of the early nascent soul stage is 5000 Jiazi, and the mana of the god transformation stage soars to 100,000 Jiazi. These top level divine beasts can fight across levels with their powerful mana, and they are extremely fierce. but the corresponding gold-eating insects lower the lower limit of the nascent soul. At the early stage of the golden core, the mana is 1 jazi. At the early stage of the nascent soul, the mana is 60 jazi. The gold-eating worm has reached the nascent soul stage, but the amount of mana is not as strong as that of a human giant and cultivator. What use is it? Xuanji looked at the cute worm with resentment. The cute eyes of the golden bee flashed with grievance, and said, "Master? Hey, you can speak?" Xuanji asked curiously. Many monsters can speak, after refining the horizontal bones in the foundation building stage. If it is those top level beasts, they can speak in the key refining stage. But the gold-eating worm only started to speak in the nascent soul stage. "Master." The gold-eating worm called out. The voice was cute, soft, and pleasant. Listening to it in the heart, it seemed that the voice was melted. "Forget it. If you can't fight, then you can't fight. Just treat it as raising a pet. Xuanji, what magical powers do you have after entering the nascent soul?" Xuanji asked. The gold-eating worm said, "There is no magical power. One is to devour metal, and the other is speed." "That's not bad." Xuanji nodded and said, "Keep eating." As he spoke, he began to feed the fairy gold. The gold-eating worm cried happily, and began to gnaw on the fairy gold. After devouring 100 grams of fairy gold, its body swayed, and was about to enter the worm bag. "Is this the nascent soul?" Xuanji frowned slightly, feeling the changes of the gold-eating worm. Although the gold-eating worm is very weak, and can be called the weakest nascent soul in the world, it is a nascent soul monster after all. They signed a contract with each other, and then clearly felt the changes of the gold-eating worm, insight into the secrets of its nascent soul, and the changes of its body. The nascent soul moved slightly, and immediately a large amount of spiritual energy surged. As it entered into it, after being refined, it spread into the body. The flesh was constantly growing, and the potential of life was increasing, just like a piece of rotten wood was changing little by little, evolving towards steel. Life is evolving, insighting into its secrets. Some thresholds and mysteries about the nascent soul flowed through his mind. As if thinking of something, Xuanji took out the gourd and began to forge a 5th grade spiritual treasure. The 5th grade spiritual treasure corresponds to the nascent soul true lord. Even in the eyes of the nascent soul cultivators, it is extremely rare and precious, but at this moment, he plans to forge a gourd for raising insects. It took 10 years to forge the magic weapon. The gourd is purple gold, with Taoist patterns engraved on it. The Taoist patterns are real and mysterious. There is a Taoist rhyme emerging from it, and there are waves of supreme mysteries rising from it. The space inside the gourd is very large, about hundreds of cubic meters, and there are traces of green water drops inside, which is the Emperor Flow Paddle. Inside, the Emperor Flow Paddle has reached the 5th grade, which is almost the supreme tonic for the 5th grade monster beast, and it is even more delicious for the gold-eating insect. Squeak. The gold-eating insect was happy, and entered the gourd. Feeling the environment here, there is a strong demonic aura inside, which is most suitable for the growth of the demon race, and a nest is built. His figure flashed again, and he absorbed the breath of the Emperor Liu Jiang. He wandered in the gourd and called happily, "Thank you, master." The gold-eating worm tried hard to shout, "At most 200 years, I can enter the realm of transformation. Congratulations." Xuanji smiled faintly, but he did not have much hope for the gold-eating worm. At the realm of transformation, the gold-eating worm's combat power is still the weakest, and it may not even be able to beat some Yuanian cultivators. It's a pity. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, another 20 years passed. In these 20 years, Xuanji sat in the cave, constantly inhaling and exhaling spiritual energy, operating the cave bead, and a trace of spiritual energy flowed out and entered the dungeon. In the dungeon, the golden elixir was running like a black hole, constantly absorbing the spiritual energy from the outside world, running life and death, and refining its essence. The golden elixir was growing stronger and stronger, from the state of particles in the past to the size of a watermelon. The pure yang fire was not only burning, but also forging the golden elixir. After the baptism of fire, the golden elixir became more and more brilliant, like real gold, that had been refined 100 times, and would never be destroyed. The mana was growing, and it was already 1200 Gyasi of mana. At this time, the mana was as strong as that of a cultivator in the early stage of the nascent soul. Not only was the mana increasing, but along with the flushing of the mana of creation, the body was constantly transforming, and the blood was rich like a human-shaped beast. The body was bright like glass, emitting a precious light, and there were bursts of fragrance overflowing, without a trace of impurities, like an immortal descending. The pure yang fire was running in circles on the body, constantly being born and dying. After a long time, the golden elixir was compressed again, and the size of the watermelon was constantly compressed to the size of a sesame seed, turning into a small black dot, running in the danshan. The compressed golden elixir was smaller, but the mana became more refined. Swish. Xuanji pointed his finger, and the magic power shot out, making a hissing sound in the void, as if to penetrate everything. Now a trace of magic power can break through a trace of half magic power. The fifth transformation of the golden elixir finally succeeded. Feeling the changes in his body and the tyranny of the magic power of creation, Xuanji was slightly happy, with unspeakable joy in his heart. With the improvement of his cultivation, ordinary Yuanying cultivators could not kill him, and his safety was greatly improved. I can't be careless. I can only match the weakest Yuanying now. But if the demon clan takes action, it will definitely not be the weakest Yuanying, but a powerful Yuanying cultivator. If I hold a proud mentality and go to deal with the enemy, I will definitely die in the disaster. Xuanji took a deep breath and suppressed the impetuousness in his heart. Suppress the slight pride brought by the sudden increase in cultivation. People should not be proud. Once they are proud, it is easy to have problems. When he walked out of the cave, he felt everything in Xiang Mountain. The mountains and rivers were still the same, but there was a little more emptiness. Where is Hangfu? Xuanji asked. At this moment, a woman came over, dressed in white, and her aura was already at the third level of the Purple Palace. Meet the master. Hangfu stepped forward and said, has anything big happened in these years? Xuanji asked. Hangfu said, no big things have happened in these years, but all kinds of small things and troubles have happened one after another. Chapter 353 Kinglian's Engine. In front of the cave, Hangfu was wearing white clothes. Her skin was white like snow, her skin was like jade, her long black hair was tied up, and her body was wholly with a trace of immortality. She had been cultivating immortals for less than 150 years, and she had already achieved the Purple Palace. This speed was faster than many of her peers. Such a fast speed was certainly due to her hard work, but the key was the guidance of Xiao's engine and various resources. In the past 30 years, 8 giant assassins came to Xiang Mountain and wanted to kill the master, but they were discovered and killed by Xiao's engine. There were also 2 old Yuanying's engines who also lurked in Xiang Mountain and were also killed by Xiao's engine. Hangfu said, recently, it has been quiet for a while. Her words were simple, even a little dry, but the danger was self-evident. Jinden is a high-level existence in any major force, but 8 of them died in a row. Yuanying is a giant in any place, but 2 of them died. Such danger is self-evident. In the continuous fierce battles, Xiao's engine was also injured. It is said that he is recovering from his injuries. At this time, Kinglian's engine is in charge in Xiang Mountain. Hangfu said, and was about to continue. The next moment, a guiding light enveloped, and Xuanji disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already in the cave. In the cave, the walls were made of green jade and the bed was made of warm jade. A woman was sitting on it. She was wearing a green coat, with white jade arms, a white neck, bright eyes, and a hint of coldness, like a proud peacock. At this moment, she was holding a teacup in her hand, and sipping tea lightly. You are here? Kinglian's engine said. How is Xia? Xuanji asked. How is her injury? She is fine. The so-called serious injury is just a cover-up. It's just a trick to attract some strong people to attack. It's a pity that those people seem to be very smart and no longer fooled. So, Xiao continued to retreat and recuperate on the surface. But in fact, she left and took Yuan to a secret ice and snow realm, which is suitable for ice spirit root cultivators. Kinglian's engine said, Xiang Mountain, now I have said it. You retreat. The tone was cold, as if talking to a stranger. Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief, but a flash of anger flashed in his eyes later, and he approached King Lian. He went straight up and hugged her. "What are you doing?" King Lian sensed the man who was close at hand, felt the breath of closeness, the familiar feeling. Her heart was excited, her body was hot, but she subconsciously resisted and waved her hand to push outside. But when she made a move, she was worried about hurting him. The force was decreasing, and it was just light when it hit Lu Xuanji. Lu Xuanji ignored it, and went forward to hug her waist and caress her. He straightened her face, and went forward to kiss her. "Let go." King Lian resisted. She was only halfway through her words, and was abruptly blocked. She couldn't say anything, and there was only a faint lingering feeling, and a drunken feeling. It was like being drunk, as if she fell into a coma. Reason was falling, emotions were rising, and passion was rising. Lingering, affectionate, unaware of the passage of time, unaware of the changes of all things. "I don't know how much time has passed." Lu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. King Lian panted, her face flushed, as if she had a fever, as if she was sick, and said, "No, no, it's not good for you to do this. You are such a bad person." "King Lian, Xiao is originally one. Why do you reject me?" Lu Xuanji said, speaking confidently and passionately. "As a quasi-deo couple, shouldn't we be appropriately close to each other?" "No, it's not good. Reason tells me that it's not good." King Lian said, but her words were soft, weak, and lacked persuasiveness. "Once you get used to it, it's natural." Lu Xuanji said, "You are a bad person." King Lian said angrily, running the skills. A trace of counterattack force surged, and she was about to break free. But at this moment, Lu Xuanji also ran the power, just holding her like this. King Lian was about to urge the power again, resisting again, but at the moment of exerting the power, she was attacked again. Her body became soft, as if she had lost her bones, and became dizzy. He fell again, his body was captured everywhere, and the city was falling. Until the end, most of his clothes were taken off, and he turned into a big white sheep, and was about to be eaten. At this time, he woke up. Bang! He urged his strength, hit him, and said, "Don't do this. Our time is not right." He said with a panic expression, put on his clothes, panted slightly, and was a little panicked. "Our time is not right. Now the double day off will not be of much benefit to you. Only when the bottleneck moment comes, the moment of impacting the 10th turn of the golden elixir, can it play the greatest role." Thinking back to some things, King Lian seemed to have found a suitable reason and said, "The difficulty of the 10th turn of the golden elixir is beyond the imagination of the world. How can it be enough without making more preparations?" Lu Xuanji also said, "Okay, everything is up to you." But at this moment, his mind was reflecting. He was not a person who was impatient, but just now his desire was rising, and it seemed difficult to suppress. Just now, if King Lian hadn't stopped him, the two would have had a relationship. It's not that it can't be done, but the timing is not right. The inner demon is at work. After 30 years of continuous seclusion, his cultivation level has risen, and his inner demons have also risen. Under the influence of the inner demons, human desires have expanded infinitely, and he has done things that he dare not do normally. "Husband, don't be angry," King Lian said, and took the initiative to kiss him and comfort him. "It's just a pity." Lu Xuanji said, "Husband, if you can't bear it, I can let Hang Fu come." King Lian said, "In addition, Lang Xuan can also come. I will summon Lang Xuan now." "No need." Lu Xuanji immediately stopped him. "No, I want it." At this moment, King Lian smiled, and her smile was charming, like a little witch, with a hint of evil charm in the face of holiness. "Husband, do you know what my physique is? Xiao cut off half of the origin, injected into my body, and evolved into a demon body. What is the devil? The devil does not mean evil, but it means doing whatever you want. Husband, don't force yourself, and suppress your desires. Enjoy life to the fullest. Immortality is hard to find, the future is unpredictable, and everything in the future is unpredictable. It is better to enjoy the joy in front of you, and enjoy the beauty that is at hand. Hanfu, Langsun, come quickly." Chapter 354 The Nature of the Little Witch. In the cave, true Lord King Lian blushed, and his body was slightly damp. Thinking back to the scene just now, he felt indescribable embarrassment. But at this moment, true Lord Kinglian felt that Lu Xuanji was not in the right state. He activated the heavenly demon Dao body and felt that a trace of demonic energy was entangled in his mind. The inner demon was growing, and the evil thoughts were growing, invisible and invisible. These evil thoughts magnified the desires in the mind. At this time, there are two ways to resolve the inner demon. One is to sit still. She activated the Kinglian secret technique. Suppress the inner demon and constantly wear away the demonic energy. The other is to release the inner demon. After the release, the inner demon will be reduced a lot. After hesitating for a moment, true Lord Kinglian decided to choose the second one. Not for anything else, because she likes it this way. Long Xuan, Hangfu, come quickly. True Lord Kinglian said, calling out in a voice transmission. Ahem, this is not good. Lu Xuanji said, embarrassed in his words, a little restless. What's wrong with that? Kinglian Zhenjin said, Hangfu is your maid, Lang Xuan is my maid. The two of them know some of our secrets, and are destined to be bound to us for life, and cannot be separated from each other. If we let them go, the enemy will use them to learn some information about us, which may cause fatal harm to us. Besides, you can be magnanimous enough to let them go, and become the women of some cultivators, lying in the arms of some men. Are you willing to accept such an ending? Lu Xuanji sighed, of course not. Kinglian Zhenjin clapped his hands and laughed, that's right. You are a gentleman. There is nothing wrong with being a gentleman, but being too upright is a bit pedantic and hypocritical. What is the purpose of cultivators cultivating immortals? Isn't it to do whatever they want, and to be happy? If you live a depressed and uncomfortable life, it's better not to cultivate such an immortal. Lu Xuanji said, but this is too fast. Not fast at all. Kinglian Zhenjin said, don't tell me, you still need to be affectionate with each other for a while, or communicate with each other for a while, get to know each other a little, and cultivate feelings. When the feelings are strong to the extreme, then it will be natural to be together. Sorry, that's mortals. Mortals have time to be affectionate with each other. But we cultivators have limited time, whereas the time to talk about love, just about enough. At this moment, the door of the cave opened, and two women walked in. Hangfu's body was as smooth as jade, tall, slender legs, protruding in front and behind, wearing a red dress, like a burning flame. Her head was combed into a phoenix bun, with a strand of long hair falling on both sides, relaxed and freehand, elegant, and calm. Her eyes were like stars flashing, and there was a hint of redness in the whiteness of her cheeks, mixed with red and white. Standing there, she looked young and lively, with the breath of the rising sun. Long Xuan was wearing a white dress with silver trims on it. Her eyes were like sharp swords, and her body looked plump and charming, as if it was huge and immeasurable. On top of her head, there was a pair of white jade dragon horns, which looked quite charming. After entering the Chindan stage, Long Xuan had activated the dragon blood in her body, stimulating a trace of the dragon's characteristics, and her cultivation speed was quite fast. At this time, she was already in the 7th Chindan stage, and even had a greater chance of impacting the nascent soul stage. However, the potential of the 7th Chindan stage was too low, and it was nothing at all. She also planned to continue accumulating for a while, and then impact the 8th Chindan stage. Greetings, Master. Greetings, Master. The two said in unison, with respectful words. Yes, yes, you two have grown into stunning beauties. If you were outside, you would be famous fairies. Kinglian Zhenjin said, I don't want to talk nonsense here. There is no point in talking too much. I'm not feeling well, and cannot be too close to Xuanji. Are you two willing to go and serve Xuanji? Hearing this, Hangfu blushed and said, I will not refuse Zhenjin's request. It's just that I'm only at the 3rd level of Zifu. Now I have a double holiday with the master, which is of limited benefit to the master. It's better to reach the Chindan realm, then it will be better for the master. Kinglian Zhenjin said, I won't ask anything else, just one question. Are you willing? If you don't want to, I won't force you, and will send you down the mountain. Hangfu said, I'm willing. Kinglian Zhenjin smiled and said, that's right, why so much nonsense? Hangfu bowed her head and said nothing. Since becoming a maid, she has been thinking that this day will come, but the speed is a little fast, and there is not much preparation in her heart. When it really came to this moment, there was still a slight resistance in her heart. But such resistance could not last for a moment and then dissipated. There was no difference between coming early and coming late. True Lord Kinglian asked again, Long Xuan, you have followed me since childhood. Are you willing? If you don't want to, I won't force you. We are master and servant. Let's part ways in peace. Long Xuan said, if I leave, where can I go? I'm willing to serve Master Xuanji. If you feel wronged in your heart, just say it directly and refuse directly. True Lord Kinglian said, I won't force you. Master, don't say that. Long Xuan said, okay. True Lord Kinglian smiled and said, I wish you a good day, I'll leave first. As he said that, True Lord Kinglian was about to leave, but before leaving, he seemed to think of something, and a pink mist rose up, drowning everything. Long Xuan wanted to hold her breath, but the pink mist ignored the true key interception and directly entered her body. Her body became flushed, and her body was as gorgeous as dripping blood. Her desire was boiling, and her eyes were becoming fiery red. The master is playing tricks, but this is what the master should do. Long Xuan suddenly thought of some things in the past. In the past, Jinzi had a cheerful personality and wanted to play like a little witch. But after the demise of the Jin family, her personality became cold and silent, and she smiled less. Chapter 355 The Eve of Departure. In a corner of the cave, the face of Kinglian's engine blushed and disappeared later. On the road to immortality, the cultivators must practice Taoism. What is Taoism? Everything can be Taoism. On the road to immortality, whether it is a righteous cultivator or a demon cultivator, they all need to pay attention to the heart of Taoism. The heart of Taoism is a shackle. The righteous cultivators have been reinforcing this shackle all their lives, letting the shackles control their desires, control their various thoughts, and control their various emotions, in order to make their lives meaningful. Demon cultivators have been constantly breaking shackles throughout their lives, releasing their desires, releasing their feelings, and releasing their emotions, in order to make themselves live happily. When the righteous cultivators insist on the heart of Taoism, they are prone to lose their persistence and become hypocrites. When the demon cultivators are constantly breaking the heart of Taoism, they are prone to lose themselves and sink into desires. In the process of getting along, Xuanji is undoubtedly a gentleman of the righteous path, and the righteousness is a bit too much, which seems to be a bit too righteous. This is a good thing, but it is also a bad thing. I was about to look at something carefully, but I was blocked, and it was difficult to see the details. I only saw a group of fog. In the fog, all vision became blurred, chaotic and unpredictable. I was so intoxicated that I didn't know the way home. I don't know how long it took. Xuanji opened his eyes. His mind was a little dazed. Thinking back to the absurd things just now, he couldn't help but blush, but after blushing, he was slightly happy. In the human heart, there is a demon imprisoned. It's good to let the demon come out to breathe occasionally. After a while, the woman on the left woke up. Her eyelashes moved slightly, trembled a few times, and was about to open her eyes, but when she opened them, she closed them again. I'm still sleeping. I haven't woken up yet. As long as I don't wake up, the world is dark. Long Xuan was comforting herself like this, deceiving herself. Long Xuan, don't pretend to sleep. Xuanji smiled, lowered his head, and kissed her forehead gently. I won't pretend anymore. Long Xuan said stubbornly, and was about to get up and leave, but just as she was about to get up, her mouth was blocked. She closed her eyes subconsciously, and her body tensed up all of a sudden. She had experienced it yesterday, but she was still extremely shy. Thinking back to yesterday's scene, her face was still burning, and her heart was pounding. In the midst of tension, there was joy in her heart. Hanfu, don't pretend to sleep. At this moment, the door of the cave opened. Kinglian stood at the door, looking at them with an ambiguous expression, with a hint of envy in her star-like eyes, cunning in her charm, and a hint of seductive magic on her blushing face. Long Xuan looked at the master, and a hint of envy and obsession flashed in her eyes. This is the real master. When she was a girl, she followed the master. At that time, the master was the eldest daughter of the Jin family, and also a female devil. She was relaxed and cheerful, liked to play tricks on people, and was happy and carefree. But after the demise of the Jin family, the master's personality became gloomy, no longer smiled, and looked worried. But now, she saw the master laughing again. King Lian smiled gently, looking at the traces on Lang Xuan and Han Fu on the bed, the sultry smell, and the joy in their eyebrows, and couldn't help saying, "It's time to get up." Kekik on the high building, there is a stream flowing nearby, and white clouds floating in the distance. Sitting at the window, King Lian's jade-like back of her hand supported her chin, and her eyes flashed with beautiful charm. Lang Xuan came over with a tea tray, gently placed the tea tray on the table, and stood aside. Xuanji picked up the teacup, brought it to his mouth, and tasted it carefully, looking at King Lian quietly, as if appreciating a beautiful work of art. "Sister, do you look good?" King Lian smiled with her mouth covered. Her beautiful eyes were charming and enchanting, and there was a hint of style in her holiness, which was very attractive. There was a kind of enchantment in her bones, which was set off by the gorgeous and pure ice light, which added more charm. It was both holy and elegant, making people dare not blaspheme, and mature and coquettish, which made people's hearts and minds sway. Xuanji, you can't praise. You can't praise. Some people will be so proud of themselves when they praise. Even though the woman in front of me is very beautiful, and her charm is blooming at this moment, she still can't be praised. I like your expression now. King Lian brushed her hair and smiled gently. She smiled sweetly, and her every move was full of endless charm. If I could stay here forever, leisurely and comfortable, how wonderful it would be. Xuanji looked into the distance. There were white clouds and blue sky in the distance, as well as endless killing and death. In this world, there is no paradise, and many times the more you try to avoid it, the more you can't avoid it. King Lian said, I can't forget the hatred for the Jin family. Xuanji said, I have to go. Ah. King Lian was slightly surprised. Now, there are many people who want to kill you. Don't look at Xiao killing two nascent soul monsters, but these two people are at a relatively low level and their strength is relatively weak. As for those powerful nascent soul monsters, they are afraid of being attacked by a group, and dare not come here. But if you leave here, it will be very dangerous. Very dangerous. It doesn't make much sense for me to just retreat. I plan to walk around outside, look for some adventures, and relax. It's not very useful to practice hard all the time. King Lian said, I'll accompany you. It's not safe for you to be alone outside. No. Xuanji directly refused. If you leave, who will guard Xiang Mountain? King Lian was silent, and said, then you'd better be careful. The last 100 years have been the time when my luck is booming. As long as I don't leave Chu, and as long as I'm not too high profile, I'm safe. Xuanji smiled and said, wandering outside for a few years, I'll come home. I'll wait for you. King Lian said. Chapter 356, The Involution of the Immortal Cultivation World. Aren't you the one who carries reason? But why are you so sentimental? I thought you would be indifferent to me for the rest of your life. Xuanji laughed. In the past few days, King Lian's engine seemed to have changed his appearance. I don't know. King Lian's engine said, and approached him again. The distance was getting closer and closer, and the breath of each other attracted each other, like a magnet. Click. This time, before Xuanji made any move, King Lian's engine took the initiative to move forward, kissing each other, and they were each other's inside and outside, as if they were going to become one person. In the closeness, King Lian's engine subconsciously closed his eyes and recalled the feeling in the darkness, feeling his heartbeat quicken, feeling the dampness of his body, feeling the throbbing of his heart, and feeling the impulse of life. The closeness continued, and except for the last step, what should be done was almost done. At night, Long Xuan and Han Fu came again. He kept saying to himself that he should resist temptation, and women would affect the speed of drawing the sword, but he was quickly attracted by the two, and indulged in it. Wills were shattered again and again, thoughts were broken again and again, and then indulged in it, and the joy continued. The two women were like different books. Flipping through the books gave people completely different feelings. One was elegant with charm, and the other was wholly with charm. In the process of reading speed, it is easy to get addicted to it. Women will affect my speed of drawing swords. but many masters still affect their speed of drawing swords for women. Because women can bring happiness. If life is unhappy and depressed, even if you are invincible and immortal, what is the point? Immersed in it, it was not until 3 months later that Xuanji quietly left. Some reluctance, looking back every 3 steps, but more determination. He likes to enjoy life and enjoy the happiness in it, but if he wants to protect everything now, he must have strong strength. If he does not have strength, everything in front of him will disappear like a mirror flower and water moon. Master, he is gone. Standing in the attic, Hang Fu looked at the shadow going away, looking at the figure who looked back every 3 steps. He wanted to say something, but he was silent. The master was addicted to the recent joy and didn't want to leave, but she was also addicted to it and couldn't extricate herself. Love is mutual, happiness is also mutual. She wanted to follow him and take care of his life. But soon, the master refused all this, and King Lian's engine also refused everything. It was very dangerous outside. If she encountered a strong enemy, he might not be able to protect her. Master, when will you return? Hang Fu asked. True Lord King Lian said, Xuanji defeated the genius of the demon clan and seized 2 levels of the demon clan's fortune. The last 100 years will be the period of his prosperity. During this period of time, it is not very useful to stay at home and practice hard. It is better to go out and walk more. If you go out and walk more, you will encounter a chance encounter. If you stay at home and do nothing, what opportunity can you encounter? Hang Fu said, I miss him a little. Long Xuan also said, me too. I didn't feel anything in the past, but now I miss him a little. I miss him too, but men are fighting outside. How can we drag him down? True Lord King Lian smiled and said, Hang Fu, you have to work hard. For Xuanji, nascent soul is nothing. Even the hope of God transformation is great. Your mere purple mansion cultivation is not worthy of him. As a maid of true Lord Yuanying, you must have at least golden core cultivation. As a maid of heavenly Lord Huishan, you must have at least nascent soul cultivation. And Long Xuan, you have dragon blood in your body, which is an advantage, but also a disadvantage. After reaching the golden core stage, the so-called blood advantage is declining. You should try to purify your blood and improve the blood level. At the same time, comprehend the secrets of the human race to better improve your potential. I plan to teach you a thing or two recently. Master, don't you need to practice? Long Xuan asked. No, said King Lian Zhenjin. She doesn't need too much practice. The height of her cultivation depends on 2 points. One is the height of Xiao Zhenjin's cultivation, and the other is the grade of the spiritual treasure at the beginning. At the beginning, Xiao Zhenjin practiced the 2 yin and yang illusion body and used the 7th grade spiritual treasure to cut out her clone. Because King Lian's grade is very high, there will be no bottleneck before the peak of refining emptiness. Because King Lian's grade is high, the speed of cultivation is much faster than that of Xiao Zhenjin. Walk down Xiang Mountain and leave quietly. Lu Xuanji activated the secret technique to conceal his aura. His appearance was changing, turning into his normal appearance. His cultivation was also changing, turning into the appearance of building a foundation, and he was walking outside. He was walking outside casually, not deliberately looking for certain treasures, nor looking for adventures, just relaxing casually. In the past life, he was busy with the 996 days in the house. He was very busy, not relaxed at all, and his life was not satisfactory at all. Of course, the beasts and experts explained all this as high housing prices are conducive to struggle. In the world of cultivating immortals, it seems that you can control the clouds and fly in the sky. You can control the earth, water, wind, and fire, and you can evolve various spells. You can have 3 wives and 4 concubines, and you can open a harem. It seems that everything is beautiful, but that belongs to high-level cultivators. For low-level cultivators, life is not easy at all. Without awakening spiritual roots, you will become immortal and fall to the 18th level of hell. But if you awaken your spiritual roots, you will fall to the 17th level of hell. Many low-level cultivators are busy farming, refining elixirs, making talismans, working as waiters in shops, escorting goods, etc. What does 997 mean? Under the crazy internal circulation of the cultivation world, many cultivators are so slow that they almost do not rest for 24 hours. The spirit of the low-level cultivators is very good. They do not need to sleep for 8 hours at all. 1 hour of meditation can replace a day's sleep. They are simply the best labor force. Half of the time of low-level cultivators, or even 6 or 7 levels, is used to work, contribute to the family and the sect, and work hard to support the upper-level foundation-building cultivators and purple mansion cultivators. Of course, some cultivators have backbone, and say that they will not be exploited and squeezed by the family and the sect, and they want to be casual cultivators. Being a casual cultivator is not squeezed, but life is harder. There are fewer cultivation resources, and life is more difficult. Under the internal circulation of the cultivation world, one layer squeezes another layer, and one layer suffers more than the other. Of course, some people do not struggle anymore, and they lie down. There are such people, but they are very few. When you enter the world of cultivating immortals, how can you be worthy of yourself if you don't strive for immortality and a lifespan as long as heaven and earth? Chapter 357, Dead Tree Revives in Spring, Semi-Immortal Tree. Looking back on the 500 years of cultivating immortals, it was a life of continuous work, continuous toil, and continuous exploitation. Fortunately, I finally reached the golden core. After reaching the golden core, no one will exploit the golden core cultivators anymore, and no one will exploit the golden core cultivators. Becoming a golden core cultivator, controlling part of the currency discovery rights, and also changing from the former exploited to the exploiter, finally ended the miserable 997 days of life. I can drink tea leisurely, quietly appreciate the scenery outside, and have a happy weekend with the female cultivators. I can take a vacation at any time. Today I'm in a bad mood and don't want to make pills, so I won't make pills. Today I'm in a bad mood. I want to have a weekend with the female cultivators, so let's have a weekend. But the foundation building cultivators can't do that. If the pills are not made today, they will have to work overtime tomorrow. If they miss the deadline, they will lose points. Finally I can be leisurely. Walking outside and breathing the air, Xuanji felt a wave of comfort. The mind was relaxing, the spirit of the body was relaxing, entering a state of leisure, and he could not help but close his eyes. In a trance, he was wandering outside the world, being with the world, and entering the unity of man and nature. Feeling the breath of the earth, the breeze gently urged, the river was flowing gently, the insects were chirping, and the stars were beating slightly. Resonating with the magnetic field of the world, resonating with all things. In a trance, it seemed to become a part of all things. In a trance, Xuanji's mind suddenly sprouted, and he felt that there was a huge sphere in the void, huge and boundless, seemingly without end, and he didn't know how big it was. This sphere stood in the void, surrounded by space storms, with the power of tearing space, like a knife after another, flashing in the void, cutting everything and destroying everything. At this moment, a trace of mind seemed to be guided by the sphere, constantly rising upwards, getting closer and closer to the sphere. As it approached, the mind was shaking, like a candle in a strong wind, ready to shatter at any time. Continuously approaching, the distance was getting closer and closer. At this moment, the mind was shaking violently, a trace of the soul was shattered, and disappeared into nothingness. Puff! Xuanji opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of blood. Looking up at the sky again, there was a star flashing in the sky. Where was the huge sphere? That huge sphere, could it be the fairyland? Xuanji fell into deep thought. The fairyland, located in the center of the myriad worlds, is also the ultimate pursuit of the cultivators. The cultivators constantly practiced hard, constantly comprehended the great way, and condensed their magical powers. Isn't it for immortality? According to legend, after entering the fairyland, the cultivators can be immortal, gain a long life, without the danger of death, and can live to the end of the world until the destruction of the universe. The immortal world is covered by special laws in the endless void, and the naked eye cannot see the existence of the immortal world. Only when you reach the realm of refining emptiness, and comprehend the mystery of nothingness, can you sense the existence of the immortal world and the endless void, lock the location of the immortal world, and draw a trace of immortal energy to strengthen your soul. When you reach the peak of the unity of the Tao, you can tear the door of the immortal world, survive the 9 immortal tribulations, and directly ascend to the immortal world, free and easy. Under the unity of heaven and man, you can comprehend the immortal world, but it's a pity that my mind is too weak. If the mind is stronger, it is possible to ascend to the immortal world with the mind, and directly penetrate the whole picture of the immortal world, and then directly break the barrier of the 10th turn of the golden elixir. Xuanji said, feeling a little sorry. It is very difficult to ascend to the immortal world with the physical body, but it is very easy to ascend to the immortal world with only the mind. It's like if someone goes abroad directly, the money spent is huge, but if you make a phone call abroad, the amount of money spent is less. After the party, Xuanji restrained his distracting thoughts and began to walk around the country of Chu. On the way, he encountered the bandits who were killing him. They were domineering and cruel. In the town, he encountered some second-generation cultivators who bullied men and women and flirted with women on the street. They had no shortage of beautiful women, but they liked that kind of tune. In the town, he encountered some beggars who were ragged and worked hard to have a meal. He came forward to give them a few copper coins. He went to the brothel again, listening to the women singing and welcoming guests. Some brothel women lived a life of superiority, while some lived a life of inferiority. The brothel was also very involuted. He went to some foundation building trade fairs again, watching a foundation building cultivator hawking and arguing for a few spiritual stones. There were also people in the market who specialized in cheating people. There were also some cultivators who created fairy traps and harmed some cultivators. Once, Xuanji was trapped by a fairy trap and suffered huge losses. He originally planned to kill them with a sword, but he thought it was not easy for them. Forget it. I won't kill you. I will just take your things and leave. Just like this, he traveled in Chu state, comprehending the life of the lower class, walking casually and watching the various human emotions. Gradually, starting from a bystander, he integrated into it step by step and became a member of all living beings. The cultivation continued, but it was less deliberate and more natural. During the travel, the speed of cultivation not only did not decrease, but it steadily improved. In the 10th year of the travel, the ki in his body was changing, and his cultivation was improved again, and he had entered the 6th turn of the golden elixir. In the 13th year of the travel, the cave bead in his body made a sound and made a violent roar. Xuanji was slightly surprised, and a trace of divine thought entered it. In the cave bead, the tree of years, which was originally exhausted and about to die, made a crisp sound, crackling, and the old bark fell off one by one. New branches were growing and developing rapidly, and the old and the new were alternating. The tree of years was drawing spiritual energy, and suddenly the spiritual energy in the cave was whistling, like a storm. Woo woo woo. The spiritual energy was raging, and the underground spiritual veins were shrinking. The 7th grade spiritual veins were shrinking. This storm lasted for a month before it stopped. In the center of the cave, there was a 1-meter high spiritual tree, with branches shaking and tender bodies, like newly grown seedlings. All around were broken pieces of bark, broken trunks, branches, etc. The spiritual energy was exhausted, and there was no spirituality at all. The 1-meter high spiritual tree was surging with vitality, and its body was even more radiant. Seeking survival from death, the spiritual tree finally broke through the shackles and entered the 8th grade. The 8th grade spiritual tree is also called the semi-immortal tree. The semi-immortal tree has supreme fortune, and even the head AO cultivators are extremely envious. Father, it has finally entered the 8th grade. In the cave, Lu Yaoling shouted happily, Father, after the spiritual tree enters the 8th grade, with the help of the spiritual tree, Father has a 5-level probability of entering the 10th turn of the golden elixir. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358, Semi-Immortal Tree, The Secret of Luck. At this time, the Dangshan Pearl was undergoing drastic changes. The spiritual energy in the Dangshan Pearl was rising, and the spiritual energy was so dense that it almost turned into water mist, condensed into liquid, and directly presented in the void. When entering the Dungeon Pearl, Xuanji frowned slightly, feeling a little uncomfortable, and couldn't help coughing. The more concentrated the spiritual energy, the better. If the amount is too excessive, it will cause discomfort to the cultivator, just like oxygen poisoning. The Dungeon Pearl was urged to adjust the concentration of spiritual energy. The spiritual energy began to settle underground, and the concentration of spiritual energy began to decrease. After a long time, the spiritual energy finally returned to a normal level, which was just right for him at this stage. Sensing the spiritual veins underground, the spiritual veins were changing slightly, and had surpassed the limit of the 7th grade spiritual veins, and were transforming towards the 8th grade spiritual veins. However, this process is extremely long, and may take hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of years. The key to upgrading the spiritual veins lies in the sapling in front of him. This sapling is only about 1 meter tall, with 9 branches, and each branch has some pink leaves, which seem to have just grown out, very tender. The grade is grade 8. It is only a seedling, but it shows a different style. The branches and leaves are shaking, breaking through the void, absorbing the energy in the void, transforming it into a trace of vitality, and turning it into nutrients for the sapling. And at the main trunk, it seems to be connecting the nothingness in the dark, connecting to the unknown land. The year's fruit tree seems to have changed a lot, but it seems that the changes are not big. Linger, what happened? Xuanji asked. Lu Yaoling said, Father, this is an 8th grade time fruit tree. Father's methods are so superb that he turned the impossible into possible, and turned the old tree that was about to die into an 8th grade spiritual tree. This is supreme fortune and supreme methods, which many people envy. Xuanji smiled and said, what are the benefits? 8th grade spiritual tree, also known as semi-immortal tree. Lu Yaoling introduced happily. 8th grade spiritual tree corresponds to the powerful people who have achieved the Dao, and corresponds to the 8th grade spiritual treasure. Of course, as a spiritual tree, the time fruit tree does not have much attack power. It is mainly used for auxiliary purposes. It has many benefits. First, with the time fruit tree as the foundation, the spiritual vein can be upgraded to the 8th grade. The spiritual energy in the cave is enough to support Father's cultivation to a higher level, and there is no need to worry about the lack of spiritual energy. Second, the 8th grade time fruit tree blooms once every 3,000 years, bears fruit once every 3,000 years, and matures once every 3,000 years. It takes 10,000 years to produce a time fruit. If a powerful person who has achieved the Dao takes it, it can extend his life by 10,000 years. Third, the 8th grade fruit tree of time is already a semi-immortal tree. The branches at the top have touched the barrier of the fairy world and can draw immortal energy from the fairy world to nourish itself. Father can also intercept immortal energy to nourish his body and soul. However, Father is too weak now, and immortal energy is poisonous to Father. Fourth, Father can use the fruit tree of time to send a trace of soul to the fairy world, perceive the whole picture of the fairy world, perceive a trace of the fairy world's laws, and thus understand the secrets of the fairy world, and enter the 10th turn of the golden elixir. This is much more reliable than offering sacrifices to the ancestors of the fairy world, and relying on the ancestors to guide you. As if awakening some memories of his own life and opening up some memory inheritance, Lu Yaoling spoke, talking about some things about the spirit tree. After the spirit tree reaches the 8th grade, it will undergo a drastic transformation, and the essence of life is changing. The branches will sense the location of the fairy world and guide a trace of immortal energy to descend, transforming the origin, and transforming into a fairy tree step by step. The most important thing is that with the help of the 8th grade spiritual tree, a trace of the soul can enter the fairy world, and peek into the whole picture of the fairy world, thus entering the 10th turn of the golden elixir. If there are people in the fairy world, they can use some special utensils to offer sacrifices to the ancestors of the fairy world. If the ancestors of the fairy world sense it, or are in a good mood, they can help lead that trace of soul to the fairy world, and perceive the whole picture of the fairy world. However, this method has huge hidden dangers. First of all, the fairy world is also constantly competing and fighting, and immortals may also fall. If by chance, the ancestors of the fairy world fall, the sacrifice becomes useless. Secondly, if the ancestors of the fairy world happen to be in seclusion and can't take care of the small things in the mortal world, they may just miss it. Finally, why should the ancestors of the fairy world help the younger generation in the lower world? How can a mere ant in the lower world be qualified to ask the immortals for help? In history, those great immortal sects offered sacrifices to their ancestors 1,000 times, but they might not respond once. It's like a poor boy asking a rich man for help. The rich man may help when he is in a good mood, or he may not help when he is in a bad mood. He may not have time to take care of it, or he may not even receive the message for help. There are too many uncertainties. Therefore, the probability of the 10th turn of the golden elixir is very low, less than 1,000th. This has nothing to do with the so-called qualifications, comprehension, etc. The key is the competition of background. Xuanji said happily. In other words, I can enter the 10th turn of the golden elixir with the help of the half-immortal tree. Lu Yaoling said, Father, there is only a probability of 5 levels. The half-immortal tree is like a bridge to the fairyland. With the help of the half-immortal tree, Father can enter the fairyland with a trace of divine thought. But if Father's soul is not strong enough, even if the divine thought descends to the fairyland, it may not be able to see the whole picture of the fairyland. The probability is only 5 levels. Lu Yaoling reminded again, saying with some emphasis, if Father fails, he will not blame him. 5 levels, it's already very high. Xuanji smiled, with a glimmer of joy in his eyes. Father, the time fruit tree is very small now, but when it grows up in 100 years, we can pick the time leaves and make tea, and we can understand a little bit of the law of time. Lu Yaoling said, and mentioned another benefit. By the way, the remains of the old time fruit tree can be forged into a time-related spiritual treasure. The remains of the old tree are 7th grade spiritual materials, which are of extremely high grade, and can be forged into 7th grade spiritual treasures. Of course, given Xuanji's level of refining, he can only forge a 4th grade spiritual treasure at most. Looking at these spiritual materials, Xuanji's mind moved, his hands itched, and he was about to forge a spiritual treasure. But he gritted his teeth, and gave up in the end. Now is not the time to forge magic weapons. No matter how many magic weapons there are, they are not as important as cultivation. At present, the main thing is to improve cultivation. After greeting Lu Yaoling and taking care of everything outside, Xuanji disappeared. No wonder I haven't encountered any adventures in more than 10 years of walking outside. This is unreasonable and abnormal. After all, I'm now in the territory of Chu State, and my luck is as strong as fire. It is impossible that I have no adventures. It turns out that all my luck has been transferred to the year's fruit tree. Xuanji pondered, sensing the mystery of luck. The dead tree is reborn in spring, and it is so difficult for the dying old tree to be reborn and become an 8th grade spiritual tree. Even with various means and countless years of infusion of magic power, there is only less than 3 layers of probability of successful rebirth. But now, the old tree has succeeded in rebirth, and behind this, there is the support of his luck. Chapter 359, Encountering the Demon Cultivator again. Sensing the rise and fall of his own luck, Xuanji's expression changed. He continued to move forward, walking aimlessly. As he walked, he landed in a small town, but when he approached, he frowned slightly. He smelled the smell of blood. His footsteps flashed, and he entered the town. He saw that there was no life in the town. It was full of corpses, bloody and cruel. In the town, the corpses were placed randomly, which looked messy and bloody. There were about 5,000 humans in this town, all of whom died in the hands of the demon cultivators. Who is it? Xuanji said angrily, with a flash of murderous intent in his eyes. He held the seal in his hand, sensed the key in the dark, and walked towards the north. Swish. The speed was very fast. When he was 300 miles away, he encountered another small town. There were also corpses in it, and there was no one alive. He walked forward again, and arrived in a city. He approached the city, but he sensed the evil spirit rising to the sky, and the death energy was condensing, as if to destroy everything. After entering the city, he found that the formation was not damaged, but all the hundreds of thousands of mortals inside had died, and the 3 foundation building monks inside had also turned into corpses. They died silently, without any wounds on their bodies, and seemed to be asleep. Xuanji went forward to check, but found a trace of strange toxins. Dream demon poison. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Xuanji's eyes. Dream demon poison is a popular poison among the demon sect. If it is poured into a well, it can silently poison the foundation building monks, and then kill civilians on a large scale. As for the shortcomings, only a 3rd grade detoxification pill is needed to break the poison. Or with the cultivation of the Purple Mansion, you can also not be afraid of the invasion of toxins. Xuanji went forward, and was looking for clues, when a sound came from the void. Swish. One by one, the monks appeared, and stood in all directions, besieging Xuanji, and it seemed that they were about to evolve into a killing move in an instant. One of the blue-clothed monks even had the cultivation of the Purple Mansion. You, a demon cultivator, dared to massacre civilians. Why don't you surrender? The Purple Mansion cultivator shouted. It's not me, Xuanji said. I saw you poisoning the well. Why don't you surrender? As he spoke, the Purple Mansion cultivator urged the magic weapon, and a rope flew out, turning into a ray of light that wrapped around him. Swish. At this moment, Xuanji drew his sword, and the green sword light flashed, like rain hitting banana leaves, making a crisp sound. The rope was cut, making a series of crisp sounds, and broke into 7 or 8 pieces. Brothers, set up a killing formation. The Purple Mansion cultivator called out again, and immediately the cultivators around him responded. The sword light flashed and changed, attacking from all directions. The sword was like a waterfall, sweeping everything and drowning everything. But the next moment, another sword light flashed. Click. The 12 cultivators felt the flying swords in their hands breaking, and there was a bloody mark at the center of their eyebrows. It seemed that, if they used a little more force, they would die on the spot. But at this moment, Xuanji exuded the breath of the golden elixir, and a trace of breath suppressed the void, and the space around him seemed to solidify. The green-clothed cultivator was about to say something harsh and threaten something, but at this moment, he was trembling. In normal times, they framed people, and made them into demon cultivators, just because they were unhappy with them, and put them in prison. The law enforcement hall can be said to be in power. But this is only bullying small people, bullying those cultivators without background. If you encounter those with big backgrounds, they will chop you directly. If you encounter a golden elixir real person, they will kill you directly. Greetings senior. The green-robed monk said, I'm Yi Qingai, a disciple of the law enforcement hall of the Danliang sect. If I have disturbed you, or made a mistake, please forgive me. Xuanji said, I will not frame you. Yi Qingai said shamelessly senior, I admit my mistake. Kneel down. Xuanji shouted. Yi Qingai knelt down immediately without any hesitation, as if he was used to it. Slap yourself 3 times. Xuanji said. Yes. Yi Qingai said, raising his hands, and slapping his face, one on the left, and one on the right, one after another. The sound of slapping was loud, and soon there were more than 3, and more than 10. Soon his face became red and swollen, and blood flowed from the corners of his mouth. Kneel down and talk. What exactly happened here? Xuanji asked. Senior, some demon cultivators appeared not long ago, and slaughtered some towns in succession. Some weak immortal cultivation families were even destroyed and sacrificed directly. The monks of the law enforcement hall were furious, and started looking for the murderers. They did catch some demon cultivators, but some still escaped. Yi Qingai said, talking about what happened recently, mainly the demon cultivators killing people. Who is the hall master of the law enforcement hall? Xuanji asked. Yi Qingai said, Golden Core Elder, Kang Qingai. Is he here? Xuanji asked. Golden Core Elder is very busy, how could he go out for such a small matter? Yi Qingai said, even the deputy hall masters didn't come. Such a small matter is not worth their attention. Hearing this, Xuanji was speechless. The demon cultivators were in chaos. Thousands and tens of thousands of people died, and some immortal cultivation families were destroyed. This was almost a big deal and a disaster for the little people at the bottom. But for the cultivators at the top, it was just a small matter. The hall master is a giant and cultivator, so he has to be busy cultivating. The deputy hall master is a half-step giant and cultivator, so he has to be busy cultivating. If there is nothing serious, don't alarm them. Demon cultivator? I'm just free, so I'll go and kill some demon cultivators. Xuanji said, turning around and about to leave, but he seemed to think of something. Remember, if you offend me, remember to go to the ice and snow cave heaven to be punished for 3 years. As he said that, he disappeared. After a long time, Yi Qinggai stood up, his body trembling, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. He was extremely lucky to be alive, after offending a giant and cultivator. Just based on his offense just now, even if he was killed, outsiders would not say anything. Instead, they would say that he deserved it. Who is this giant and senior? A law enforcement disciple asked. It cannot be said. Just in the battle just now, he had guessed the identity of the senior, but the senior had already hidden his identity, and he couldn't reveal it either. Everything was up to the senior's wishes. Just thinking that he would have to go into the ice and snow cave to suffer while practicing the fire element technique, he was secretly worried. But he didn't dare to refuse, nor did he dare not go. With a flash of his figure, Xuanji disappeared, activating destiny deduction to calculate the enemy's position. This function on the mobile phone is not only used to calculate the technique, but also to calculate some related people and things. Chapter 360 Goodbye Blood Witch. Destiny deduction. If it is only used to deduce the skills, it will fall into the inferior level. Destiny deduction can deduce everything in the world. As long as it exists in the world and leaves a trace, it can be deduced. The deduction consumes his soul power. Just a little urging, it can sense some news, urging the golden light to disappear. Swish. The void is flashing. Xuanji is shuttling quickly. The direction is constantly changing, locking the position. The position is getting closer and closer, gradually approaching the land of Yu. Yu, also known as the Demon Kingdom, is a country of demon cultivators. Chu is mainly immortal, Yu is mainly demon, because of interests, purpose, etc. The two sides often have bloody battles. It was only later that it became peaceful. But this kind of peace is very fragile. It is limited to that large-scale wars no longer break out. As for the bloody battles of the lower-level cultivators, there are many. There are often righteous cultivators who kill demon cultivators. There are also demon cultivators who kill righteous cultivators and practice magic skills. The leaders of both sides are happy to see such a bloody battle. Fighting and competition are conducive to the birth of strong people. Swish. Retracting the golden light, Xuanji's footsteps flashed and stopped in front of a mountain range. This mountain range did not exist originally, but was forcibly created by some Yuaning's engine to become the boundary mountain between the two countries. Just near the boundary mountain, Xuanji's figure flashed and entered the mountain range, and was about to lurk in. But suddenly he thought of something and urged 9 changes of fish and dragon to evolve an avatar and lurk in quietly. A cave was opened up in the mountains. In the center, there was a blood pool gurgling and emitting billowing hot air. A woman in red stood by the blood pool. Open the gourd and pour the blood into the blood pool. Sprinkle some spiritual medicine in it, which kept breaking and merging into the blood pool. The essence of mortals, monsters, top grade elixirs, and cultivators all fell into the blood pool, where they were constantly smelted and transformed into a brand new look. Gurgle. The blood pool made a slight sound, emitting a faint fragrance, which was charming, like fine wine, and seemed to make people intoxicated. Looking at the blood pool, his expression changed slightly, and a trace of cruelty flashed in his eyes. As long as I survive the life calamity, I can become a Yuaning's engine, live for 2000 years, and enjoy bliss. He raised his jade-like feet, and entered the blood pool, to test the composition of the blood pool. He frowned slightly, but it was still a little short. If the blood of a Yuaning's engine was refined into the blood pool, the grade of the blood pool would be a level higher, but it is still a little short now. The woman in red frowned slightly, but still took off her clothes, flashed, and entered the blood pool. Using the secret technique, the essence in the blood pool was melted into her body bit by bit, and her cultivation was slowly rising. The blood in the blood pool was slowly falling. After an unknown amount of time, the blood in the blood pool disappeared completely. Only the jade-like body exuded a charming aura. Swish. wearing a red dress. The woman in red said, "It's still a little short. Hey, someone dared to break in here. Is it simply looking for death? I have murderous intentions at every step here, and many formations are combined together. I dare to kill even you any cultivators. Let's see who has such courage." Bang bang. After entering for a while, the void sounded, and the thunder of destruction swept down. The long sword flashed, and it chopped up continuously, and the thunder was shattering. But such a violent noise also alarmed some people. Boom boom boom. When everything disappeared, the originally dead mountain seemed to be awakening like a giant beast, and a trace of destructive breath was aroused. The formations around were activated, and the tide of destruction followed one after another. The formation group here was aroused, and it seemed to turn into a strangling force and flooded. It's bad. I'm exposed. Xuanji was slightly surprised. Since lurking doesn't work, let's just go for it. It seems that lurking and assassinating is not for me, so I'd better chop the world with a long sword. The aura on his body was condensed, and he was looking around, ready to launch a fatal blow. At this moment, a woman in red appeared in front of him, with white skin and graceful figure. She stood there charmingly, exuding an alluring breath, unconsciously giving people a hint of goodwill and a feeling of closeness. The woman in red said, "I'm polite. Daoist friend, why did you break into my cave? Hey, it's you, the blood transformed witch, who was the first on the wanted list in the past." Looking at the woman in red, Xuanji seemed to think of something. This demon Taoistial person can be said to stop children from crying in Chu state. At that time, he was also afraid when he heard the name. It was only later that he knew more and realized that the so-called first on the wanted list was very watery. Whether it was Chu state or U state, no one dared to want a truly powerful and ruthless person. As for those wanted cultivators, they are often neither high nor low, with some backgrounds, but not so great, and they are too powerful, but not too feared. Those Yuaning's engines are too disdainful to attack, and ordinary giant and cultivators can't kill them. Therefore, for various reasons, some people are very famous. Dao, why are you killing a large number of lower class people in my Chu country, and exterminating some immortal cultivation families? Xuanji asked. "I didn't." The woman in red said with a smile. "I'm a giant and cultivator, so I must abide by the rules of both parties. How could I violate the rules set by the true lord?" Dao, please don't wrongly accuse a good person. Dao said he was innocent, but I smelled blood on you, and there was a lot of resentment in it. Xuanji asked indifferently. Dao, even if you deny it, it is extremely useless. I'm a giant and cultivator. How could I violate the agreement and go to massacre the lower level civilians and those immortal cultivation families? The woman in red said, "Some lower level demon cultivators do things dirty and like to kill civilians, but I won't. I just bought some monster blood essence from some cultivators recently, as well as some cultivator blood essence and some civilian blood essence. All this has nothing to do with me. What a irrelevant thing." Xuanji sneered and pushed it aside cleanly. "It's like a rich man hired a killer to kill someone, and in the end I was innocent. I didn't kill anyone. Without trade, there can be no killing. Dao didn't kill Boran, but Boran died because of you." Xuanji said with a smile. Dao's words make sense, but I don't want to reason. Dao, take the knife. A 7-colored long knife appeared in his hand, and he chopped and killed with one knife, and cut off the soul with one knife. Dao, you are so unreasonable. The woman in red laughed and said, "Wuta killing array, Zhengjin killing array, Blood River killing array, and Silent killing array. Kill them for me." Chapter 361, Escape from Death. Luck turns bad. Boom boom boom. Around the cave, the formation was making a violent noise, operating across the killing formation, like a huge millstone suppressing down, interfering, besieging, attacking, killing, etc., one after another. Like a surging wave, like a sweeping sea wave, it swept over, especially along blood-colored river, suppressing down. The power is not inferior to the Yuaning's attack. "Open it for me." Xuanji urged the colorful longsword. The yin and yang ki flowed. The 5 element of ki were born and died. The yuan magnetic force turned into destruction. Various forces were mixed together. The power was constantly superimposed, and the blood-colored river was split open with one sword. But the next moment, the blood-colored river condensed again, turned into blood-colored water droplets, eroded, corroded everything, annihilated the soul, wave after wave. Draw a sword to cut the water flows more. The waves are more violent. Cut the blood river with one sword. Lu Xuanji slashed again. This sword cut into the void, cut at the formation node in the void. The formation was damaged. Another sword slashed out, and the blood river formation shattered. The long sword slashed again, and the Zhengjin formation was broken. The Wutu formation was broken, and the Jimi formation was broken, one after another. As the formation was broken, the cave was also broken, and the mountain was shaking violently, collapsing and turning into a ruin. The long sword slashed, like a demolition team, and forcibly broke a mountain. Looking at this scene, the red-clothed woman's face was panicked, and a trace of astonishment flashed. Her footsteps flashed, and she disappeared in a bloody escape light. It was just that the seven-colored divine sword flashed and slashed out 18 times in a row, and the body of the blood-changing witch was instantly broken into pieces, and her vitality was gradually dissipating. Rest in peace, Lu Xuanji said. The long sword flashed, and a mountain collapsed, burying her body underneath. At this time, I felt a strong man approaching, and his figure flashed and disappeared. After a while, a Yuanying cultivator sensed the news here, just observed for a moment, and then disappeared. I don't know how long it took. Under the mountain, a white jade palm stretched out, constantly exploring the void. Soon, another hand appeared. Then, half of the body appeared. Finally, the complete body appeared. This is a white jade woman, wearing a red dress, but the dress is a little torn, revealing jade-like skin. The body is soft and charming, exuding a charming breath, as if exuding a charm that turns all living beings upside down. But her face is pale, as if she has lost too much blood. Master Xuanji, I will never give up until this revenge is secured. The blood-changing witch said, with madness and a strong murderous aura flashing in her eyes. Just a moment ago, she was almost killed by Lu Xuanji, because he had an inexplicable sense of justice, so he came to her door, and beat her directly. The feeling of the blade tearing her body almost made her heart fall into darkness. At that moment, she thought she was going to die. Fortunately, she condensed the immortal demon body, and was reborn with a drop of blood. She was immortal and survived. The immortal demon body is the top physique of the blood demon lineage. Even if the body is cut into pieces and turned into meat paste, as long as there is a drop of blood, the body can be condensed again and resurrected again. It can be said to be a top physique. However, it is not without flaws. If the pure yang true fire is activated to burn the blood, she will definitely die. Is he my life calamity? The blood transformed witch frowned, feeling the calamity above her head dissipate, and the bottleneck leading to the nascent soul realm disappeared. The aura on her body was rising little by little, and she soon entered the nascent soul realm. In the flash of her figure, Lu Xuanji disappeared, and disappeared thousands of miles away in an instant. In just a few flashes, he wiped out his own traces and became invisible. No, I seem to have forgotten something. Walking on the road, Lu Xuanji suddenly felt uneasy. I think I forgot to destroy the corpse. I seem to have forgotten to touch the corpse and collect the storage bag. At this moment, Lu Xuanji frowned slightly and counted carefully, but found something wrong and inappropriate. After killing the enemy, the normal process should be to go forward and collect the storage bag, and then burn it with the pure yang true fire, turning it into ashes. But just now, he actually forgot to touch the corpse, just like someone forgot to take out the bank card after withdrawing money with a bank card. That's fine. The key is to forget and turn the corpse into ashes. In the world of immortal cultivation, there are special physiques that can be reborn with a drop of blood and can be broken into more than a dozen pieces and reassembled. For safety, it is best to turn the pure yang true fire into ashes and completely kill. Why is this so? My brain seems to have crashed. Lu Xuanji reflected on his mistakes. Although there was a Yuanying cultivator approaching, which made him leave in a panic, it would not take much time to take the storage bag before leaving and turn it into ashes directly. Could it be that my luck has dropped and the calamity has confused my mind? Lu Xuanji looked up at the sky as if he wanted to understand something. There are no fools in the world of immortal cultivation, especially those great cultivators who have entered the Jinden and Yuanying stages, all of whom are smart. But at certain moments, they often behave in a way that reduces their intelligence and do things that are like those of a fool, unreasonable and incomprehensible. Maybe decades later, when they recall the past, they will be extremely surprised, wondering why they are so stupid and have a lower IQ. Those high-level cultivators, who were originally extremely smart and did things steadily and properly, have repeatedly behaved in a way that reduces their intelligence, which is called the calamity, that has confused their mind. When the calamity entangles the mind and blinds the mind, negative emotions are constantly magnified, and the behavior becomes more and more irrational, more and more absurd and ridiculous, and they fall into madness and confusion, and make many mistakes in dealing with certain things. So in the end, they die in the calamity. Blood changing witch, is she still alive? Xuanji thought of something and opened the 100 pictures map, only to see the picture in the distance constantly enlarged and clear. A white jade beauty appeared, with a graceful body, charming and attractive. Her aura was rising, and she entered the nascent soul realm. The blood transformed witch was still alive. Not only was she alive, but her cultivation had also greatly improved, entering the nascent soul realm. I actually became her life calamity invisibly, preventing her from becoming a Taoist, but she actually survived the calamity and became a nascent soul without any danger. Xuanji's murderous intent was boiling in his heart. Since he couldn't kill her this time, he would kill her again. The golden light under his feet was flashing, and he was about to step forward to kill him. But in an instant, his eyebrows were beating slightly, giving a warning. The phone was also beating, as if reminding him of something. Not right, not right. After cultivating the year's fruit tree to the 8th grade, I consumed too much of my own luck. My luck could not suppress the calamity in my body, and I became confused by the calamity. At this moment, she has survived the calamity, and the calamity in her body has dissipated. It is the time when her luck is strong. One of her lucks is decreasing, and the other is increasing. If I take action, I may not be able to kill her. Besides, if I kill her in New State and lose the suppression of Chu State's national luck, I may encounter a calamity, or even a death calamity. Xuanji wanted to take action several times, but he suppressed it. He suppressed this impulse. Xiao Zhenjin warned him that he must not leave Chu State within 100 years. In Chu State, with the protection of Chu State's luck, even the god of incarnation could not kill him. When the god of incarnation takes action, it will always be delayed by various things, or at the critical moment, there will be accidents and opportunities for the strong. Although the god of incarnation is strong, it cannot compete with Chu State's national luck. But leaving Chu State and losing the protection of national luck will lead to various accidents. That mountain range is located between Chu and Yu. Just now, I almost left Chu and entered Yu, and almost had an accident. I have become a little confused recently. Could it be that the ancient tree of time, Nirvana of the 8th grade, consumed too much of my luck, and my luck has dropped sharply? Xuanji was sweating all over and felt uneasy. He could feel that something was wrong, and that the calamity was confusing his mind, which was not the worst. He was afraid of falling into the calamity, being confused by the calamity and being unknowable, falling into madness, and finally turning into ashes. Recently, his luck has dropped sharply. When the luck is strong, walking outside, there will be beauties favoring you, nobles helping you, and magic weapons falling into your hands, turning danger into safety. This is a manifestation of good luck. But when you get a chance and get a treasure, your own luck will also be worn out. Then, your luck will drop and fall to the bottom. At this time, it is best to stay at home, recuperate your luck, and wait until the luck is restored before going out. After reaching the nascent soul stage, many true lords live in seclusion and rarely go out. In addition to the wide range of implications, every move has a profound impact. This is also because it is necessary to nourish one's own luck, keep the luck abundant, and prevent it from falling. If the luck is already low, and the luck is obviously insufficient, but you are just wandering around outside, you may fall in some accidents. In a flash, Xuanji disappeared. It's not safe outside, it's safer to go home. Half a day later, he returned to Xiang Mountain. Xiao's engine has not returned yet, and King Lian's engine is still in charge. King Lian's engine said, "Why did you come back? Men have a dissolute heart. I thought you would stay outside for a while. Recently, my luck is bad. It's not suitable to go out. It's safer at home." Lu Xuanji smiled. "That's good. Stay at home to accompany me for a while." King Lian's engine said, "This time when I went out, I met a demon cultivator and the blood changing witch. It's a pity that she escaped." Lu Xuanji said, "Talking about that incident, the blood changing witch should now be called the blood changing's engine. It's a little troublesome, but not a big one. If she stays in new country, it won't be a big problem. But if she wants to make trouble, I don't mind killing her again." King Lian's engine said calmly. He didn't take this former enemy to heart at all. His realm was different, his pattern was different, and his attitude towards the former enemy was also different. Chapter 362, The Mystery of Demonic Rise and Taoist Disappearance. On the attic, high up, it was forged from blue-white jade. Standing on the attic, you can see many scenery of Xiang Mountain from a high vantage point. There are low-level key refining monks walking in the spiritual fields, taking care of spiritual rice, spiritual medicine, etc. There are also foundation building monks, taking care of spiritual medicine and spiritual trees in the medicine garden. There are also some monks drawing talismans and carving talisman soldiers. There are also some alchemists making elixirs. The furnace fire is burning, emitting a hot breath. There are also monks walking around, repairing some formations. In Xiang Mountain, there are thousands of formations of all sizes. Those low-level formations are disdainful to the high-level monks, so they let some second-grade and third-grade formation masters participate in them and repair them. There are also some monks who are in seclusion in the cave, impacting the realm. In the distance, there is a huge market. In the market, there are regular shops selling elixirs, spiritual tools, spiritual medicines, etc. The prices are generally higher than those outside, but the quality is absolutely guaranteed. There are also monks setting up stalls outside, selling various medicinal materials, elixirs, etc. The prices are generally low, but the quality cannot be guaranteed. We are not responsible for the quality after the transaction. It depends on your vision. If you have a good vision, you can find some good and rare items, but if you are unlucky, you can only find some inferior items, counterfeit and shoddy. Looking down from a high place, looking at the people below, Lu Xuanji had a different feeling, and started talking about some things he encountered outside. There are many demon cultivators out there, killing people everywhere. It's a pity that the giant and cultivators are too busy to pay attention to these things. The demonic path is also a kind of heavenly path. True Lord King Lian said, when the number of mortals and cultivators in a certain world increases, the demons will increase, and the Tao will decline. The demonic forces will become powerful, and various demon cultivators will emerge in an endless stream. The demonic lineage will give birth to some top giants, and the righteous lineage will be weak. On the contrary, when the number of mortals and cultivators in a certain world decreases, the Taoist demons will disappear, the righteous forces will grow, and the demonic cultivators will shrink. The three major sects of Chu can only suppress the demon cultivators, and prohibit the giant and demon cultivators from killing people at will. As for the foundation building demon cultivators and the purple mansion demon cultivators, if they kill civilians, there will be cultivators from the law enforcement hall or other cultivators who will go to kill them. Life and death are up to fate. The demon cultivators, who are walking on the path against heaven, are certainly despised by heaven and earth, and the heavenly tribulation is fierce. But once they survive the tribulation, their karma will dissipate, and they will also be recognized by the heavenly path. Just thinking about the blood transformed witch and escaping makes me feel unhappy. Lu Xuanji said, hasn't the predecessors of all generations ever thought about destroying the demon cultivators of Yu Kingdom? It's almost impossible to destroy the demon cultivators. He felt that this question was ridiculous, but true Lord King Lian still answered patiently, the demon cultivators will be suppressed, but they cannot be destroyed. Because the path to immortality is too difficult, you need superior spiritual roots, top qualifications, and good resources to go on, and it costs more resources. The threshold of the immortal path is high, and it is not friendly to those with 5 spiritual roots, 4 spiritual roots, and 3 spiritual roots. But the demon path has low requirements for spiritual root qualifications and consumes less resources. As long as you dare to fight and kill. Although the risk factor is high and the mortality rate is high, there is still a glimmer of hope. With the existence of Yu Kingdom, it can accommodate a large number of demon cultivators, and Chu Kingdom is relatively stable. If Yu Kingdom is destroyed, the demon cultivators will spread all over Chu Kingdom, and there will be chaos. That would be troublesome. Besides, no matter how bad the demon cultivators of Yu Kingdom are, they are also members of the human cultivators, and can help humans fight against the monsters. In addition, some demon cultivators are also establishing order and rules. The 3 major demon sects established in Yu State are very friendly to ordinary people and low-level cultivators in the territory. This is called a rabbit does not eat grass near its burrow. Some demon cultivators use substitution methods to practice magic skills. For example, the White Bone sect uses the corpses of monsters to practice magic skills. The Blood Demon sect uses the blood of monsters to practice magic skills. Even the Hehuan Demon sect, when seeking a furnace, also requires mutual consent, using spirit stones to smash, or seducing with beauty, etc. At least it is roughly reasonable. Many immortal cultivators can't find too many faults. Besides, after reaching the golden core, many demon cultivators no longer slaughter low-level cultivators, but instead focus on some high-level cultivators, and the damage to the world has decreased a lot. King Dian Zhenjin opened his mouth and told the story of the 7 demon sects. Immortal cultivators have high requirements for qualifications. Demon cultivators have low requirements for qualifications. Many cultivators with poor qualifications, poor comprehension, poor spiritual roots, and scarce resources are actually suitable for the demon path. The devil path cannot be destroyed at all. Instead of doing so, it is better to restrict its development appropriately and attract some devil cultivators to Yu State, so that the number of devil cultivators in Chu State will be relatively small. Recently, you should not go out. Retreat more, meditate more, and enter the 9th transformation of the golden elixir before talking about other things. Lu Xuanji nodded and disappeared. Entering the cave, Lu Xuanji began to retreat deeply. The 8th grade fruit tree of time is such a treasure that even a powerful person of the combined way may not be able to obtain it. But it fell into the hands of a young golden elixir like him. What a good fortune, what a great luck. The dead tree Nirvana, the transformation, also exhausted his luck. Now, his luck is at a low point. It is not suitable for going out, so it is better to stay at home and retreat. As he was practicing the technique, the Pure Yang Sutra was running, and a trace of Pure Yang fire was wandering around his body, forging his flesh and blood and internal organs. A trace of black impurities in his body was expelled. His body was slowly changing, transforming into a flawless body, and his potential was increasing. Yin-Yang transformation was running, and after constantly comprehending this set of techniques, he was no longer limited to the yin and yang, but was comprehending the changes of the yin and yang in the human body, and the birth and death of the yin and yang in the body. In the body, the mystery of the innate 5-te was evolving. 9 changes of fish and dragon was running, and the vision behind him was changing. Sometimes there was a pure yang sun rising, sometimes there were 33 days changing. Sometimes there was a blue dragon fighting demons, and sometimes there was a vision of the arrival of the immortal king. Various visions were constantly changing, constantly rotating and dying. He was practicing the creation secret again, and the golden elixir was running endlessly, like a golden sun burning, melting the spiritual energy and refining it into pure mana. Many techniques were in operation, constantly being born and dying, and his cultivation was steadily improving. 10 years later, Lu Xuanji entered the 7th stage of the Golden Core. After the 7th stage, the Golden Core felt full, as if a baby was being nurtured inside it. At this point, it was possible to impact the nascent soul stage. Chapter 363, the 9th transformation of the Golden Core, the return of the Golden Sun. In fact, many Jiandan cultivators intend to attack Yuanying when they reach the 7th level. But Lu Xuanji doesn't want to do that. The stronger the Jiandan is, the stronger the Yuanying it breeds, the broader the path, and the greater the potential. The Yuanying bred in the 7th level is the lowest grade Yuanying. Not only is it of low grade, but it also has a slow cultivation speed, and the probability of entering the god transformation is almost zero. After consolidating the foundation, continue to refine the Jianden. The grade of the Jianden is improving, and the mana is increasing. The Jianden is running like a huge scorching sun, constantly changing, as if to melt everything, as if to evolve endless magic. Time is passing, and another 20 years have passed. On this day, the grade of the Jianden was upgraded again, and turned into the 8th level. With the improvement of the Jianden's grade, the power of creation inside surged, and the baby inside the Jianden became stronger and more real, with a majestic and powerful surge between breaths. Promoting the Jianden, Xuanji felt that the mana was more majestic and more vast. Under the nourishment of the golden elixir, the body became more solid and flawless, evolving towards a higher level of life. The flesh and blood exuded a fragrance, like a supreme elixir. The blood was changing, no longer red blood, but showing 3 colors. Spiritual roots affect the physique of the cultivator. The birth of many physiques is affected by spiritual roots. Just like the cultivators with fire spiritual roots, most of the physiques born are fire attributes, and it is impossible to change to water attributes. After entering the golden elixir, the spiritual roots gradually transform the physique. Thinking of this, he took out a pill, which was the soul boosting pill. The soul boosting pill is a pill forged with the 4th grade soul boosting grass as the main material. After taking it, he immediately gained a gold spiritual root. He took another pill and gained a water spiritual root again. After completing the 2 major spiritual roots, the 5 element are complete and transformed into 5 element spiritual roots. Swish. At this moment, Xuanji can easily control the 5 different attributes of magic power, such as water, fire, earth, wood, and gold, and evolve them into various killing moves. Propelling the 5 element divine sword, it was more harmonious than before, and it saved more mana. I also have 5 spiritual roots, Xuanji sighed. I still remember the moment of testing the spiritual roots. The heavenly spiritual roots were geniuses, and the 5 spiritual roots were trash. The treatment of the 2 was almost worlds apart. But after reaching the golden core, this gap disappeared. The 5 spiritual roots golden core and the heavenly spiritual root golden core are essentially at the same level, and there is no saying who is stronger or weaker. The only difference is that the former can cast 5 kinds of magic, while the latter can only cast 1 kind of magic. The former is suitable for the path of melting all laws and returning all laws to one. The latter is suitable for the path of purity and refinement. There is no saying who is stronger or weaker between these 2 paths. The key is to look at the person. After the 8th transformation of the golden core, Xuanji stopped and began to transform the golden core. The golden core was changing slightly, adapting more to the 5 element of magic power, and also feeding back to the flesh and transforming the physique. As the golden elixir circulated, a trace of the power of creation was circulating, entering the body and transforming the physique. The pure yang body was changing, gradually showing a colorful brilliance and brilliance. The pure yang body was still the pure yang body, but it had a trace of the characteristics of the 5 element. There are no completely similar leaves in the world, nor are there completely similar physiques. Even if they are all pure yang bodies, they can develop in different directions due to different techniques, different understandings of the Great Way, and different cultivation concepts. At this time, the pure yang body was evolving towards the birth and death of the 5 element. The blood in the body was also flowing, like a roaring river, as heavy as mercury. The red blood was undergoing drastic changes, and gradually turned into 5-colored divine blood. There was a vigorous vitality in the blood. It was no longer ordinary blood, but precious blood. If used to refine the elixir, it could be transformed into the supreme precious elixir. After 10 years of such transformation, sensing the changes in his body, Xuanji took out the fairy gold, began to take it, and refined it into the golden elixir. The golden elixir was tempered 8 times, which was the limit. The only way to continue to improve was to smelt the immortal gold. With the inflow of immortal gold, the golden elixir was changing slightly and becoming more perfect. It took a year to smelt 1 gram of immortal gold. After a short rest, he smelted immortal gold again, gram after gram, smelting a full 20 grams of immortal gold. The golden elixir felt full. It seemed that it could not eat any more immortal gold. the golden elixir changed and turned into a flawless golden elixir. At this time, the golden elixir had no flaws and was perfect. However, as the golden elixir became flawless, it became extremely difficult or even impossible for the golden elixir to break and the baby inside to be conceived. At the time of the 8th transformation of the golden elixir, his probability of entering the nascent soul was the 8th level, but as he entered the 9th transformation of the golden elixir, the probability of entering the nascent soul was constantly decreasing, down to the 1st level. Xuanji opened the cave and walked out of the cave. Calculating the time carefully, 50 years had passed. At this time, true Lord Kinglian appeared and said with a joyful expression, "Congratulations, you have entered the 9th stage of the golden core." "Thank you." Xuanji said. "Wait a moment, I will notify true Lord Xiao. Let them return quickly." True Lord Xiao said, urging the token to pass the message. 3 days later, Xuanji returned. Xuanji and Ningzu also returned with them. At this moment, Xuanji has reached the nascent soul stage, and Ningzu has also entered the nascent soul stage, but they have just entered that stage, and their stages are still fluctuating, which makes them look unstable. "Congratulations to you," Xuanji said, but his tone was sour and his expression was bitter. "The 9th stage of the golden core. Prepare for a period of time, and we will help you to reach the 10th stage of the golden core," Xuanji said, and nodded to true Lord Kinglian. The next moment, Kinglian increased and merged into her body, emotion, and reason merged into one, yin and yang merged together, and her cultivation level was slightly improved. "Thank you," Xuanji said, "but I think my soul is strong enough, I don't need it anymore. I can already touch the 10th turn of the golden elixir." "Really? Don't be careless," Xuanji said. "There are many famous sects with immortal ancestors who can communicate with the immortal world, but when the divine thoughts descended to the Taoist immortal world, they failed. According to legend, when the divine thoughts descended to the Taoist immortal world, they were destroyed by the laws of the immortal world. I know that you have an adventure this time, and have treasures to help you, but I say it's not enough. Far from enough." As he said that, Xuanji disappeared, looking very tired. "I also need to rest for a while," Xuanji also said, and disappeared. Only Ningzu was left, and Xuanji stepped forward and asked. Ningzu said, "Master, Xiao Sword Lord paid a huge price for you. You must cherish her." Chapter 364 Sensing the Immortal World. Sitting upright in the attic, Ningzu talked about some things that happened in the past 100 years. Many times, it is not a good thing to have a Taoist partner who is too good. This will increase psychological pressure and make life uncomfortable. Sometimes, a huge price must be paid to catch up. The master is very qualified, not to mention Sister Xuanji. Even true Lord Xiao feels pressure. Now, the master is not as good as true Lord Xiao, but in another 300 years, the master may surpass true Lord Xiao. This time, true Lord Xiao took us to Xianling sect, and after paying a certain price, we entered the Ice and Snow Secret Realm. The Ice and Snow Secret Realm was the residence of an almighty sect in ancient times, but it disappeared after years of baptism. In the Ice and Snow Secret Realm, most of the treasures were taken away by the Xianling sect. But the ice and snow environment inside, as well as the 9-day white jade bed, the ice and snow lake, etc., are excellent places for cultivation. After practicing there for 100 years, Sister Xuanji entered the nascent soul realm, and I also entered the nascent soul realm later, but my foundation is unstable and needs to be consolidated. Master, please forgive me for the time being. With that, Ningzu also disappeared and went into seclusion. Just entering the nascent soul realm, it is the time to comprehend the realm and consolidate the foundation. This period of time is also the most important. They went into seclusion one after another. Xuanji also began to polish the golden elixir and temper his body. Under the operation of the golden elixir, a trace of mana flowed out, feeding back to the physical body, and the strength of the physical body was increasing. At this moment, the physical body has the characteristics of immortality and indestructibility. On the general spell attack, the power is automatically reduced by 3 layers. The blood in the body is more vigorous, like a burning furnace, blooming with hot light. A trace of destructive breath is emitting, as if a thought can cause a storm and huge waves. Urging the golden elixir, a trace of mana surged out, with a huge mana surged out, sweeping everything and suppressing everything. The mana of an ordinary nascent soul in the early stage is only 1000 Jazi, but at this moment, his mana is increasing dramatically and has increased to 3000 Jazi. At this time, facing an ordinary nascent soul cultivator, he can suppress it with a wave of his hand. However, with his current realm and fame, ordinary nascent soul cultivators would not hang around in front of him, nor would they come to show off and slap him in the face. Once a nascent soul strongman attacks him, it must be a nascent soul 6th level strongman, or even a nascent soul 9th level strongman, who comes to suppress him. You can't expect the enemy to be mentally retarded, and it's the Calabash brothers who save their grandfather time and time again, and come to give their heads again and again. The enemy is not mentally retarded, but very smart. Over the years, there have been fewer assassinations against him, but this does not mean that they have given up, but they are waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the best opportunity. Once they make a move, it will be thunderous and life-threatening. Time is passing, and in the blink of an eye, another 10 years have passed. In the cave, Xuanji opened his eyes and sighed slightly. The golden elixir is flawless, without a single flaw. After the mana increases to 3300 Jazi mana, it can no longer be improved. The strength of the physical body, when it becomes flawless, cannot be improved at all. Everything has its limits. At this moment, he tempered his spirit, energy, and spirit to the extreme, reaching the point where there is no more room for improvement. In terms of spirit, energy, and spirit, they all surpassed the limitations of human physique, and were comparable to the top beasts. At this moment, he was at the ceiling of the Golden Core Realm. As for the fact that there is no one before and no one after, it is a bit exaggerated. But those young immortal kings and young immortal emperors are only at his level. This is not a racial limitation, but a limitation of rules. When he walked out of the cave, he happened to meet Xuanji. It seemed that after a period of recuperation, Xuanji's spirit, energy, and spirit were all restored to the best state. Looking at this prospective Taoist partner, he said, "Not bad, not bad. You have reached the peak of the 9th level of the Golden Core. At this time, I was not as good as you. You have already stood at the ceiling of the Golden Core Realm. Let's go in and break through. Success or failure depends on this time. If you lose, it's nothing. But if you don't even have the courage to try, it's a big loss." Until now, Xuanji still felt that the probability of reaching the 10th level of the Golden Core was not high, and the chances of winning were slim. But even so, he still planned to give it a try. Xuanji said, "There is still one missing. Bailinga from King Qiu." Xuanji said, "Bailinga is already here, but she is on another battlefield, so you can't see her." Xuanji didn't say anything, but nodded and entered the cave. Xuanji entered later. Then, Ningzu also entered. In the process of attacking the golden elixir, Xuanji, Xuanji, Ningzu and others will play a certain auxiliary role, but it is only an auxiliary role. The key still depends on Xuanji. Xuanji said, "I don't know how to attack the 10th turn of the golden elixir. The three of us are here to ensure that you will be injured after attacking the 10th turn of the golden elixir, and to ensure that you will not die." "Thank you," Xuanji said. "Please follow me here." As he said that, he urged the cave bead, and a force of absorption came from it. Xuanji did not resist, and then entered the cave bead. Then, Xuanji, Ningzu and others also entered the cave bead. With a flashing figure, Xuanji sat under the tree of time. The tree of time rustled and emanated a trace of ancient power of time. This spiritual tree has survived for 500,000 years, and it has outlasted countless geniuses. Sitting under the tree, Xuanji urged his divine thoughts, and a trace of divine power alight on the tree, following the trunk of the tree, constantly exploring into the void, exploring into the immortal world in the dark. The immortal world is in a mysterious and unknown place, in the depths of time and space that no one knows, illusory, and close to the Tao. Cultivating to become an immortal is the highest requirement for every living being in the world. The 9 levels of cultivating immortals, the hard practice of each realm, the struggle between life and death, the abandonment of family affection, killing one's wife to prove the truth, etc., are all for one goal, to become an immortal. Enter the immortal world, enter the origin of the universe. According to legend, in the immortal world, newly born babies have the realm of transformation. In the mortal world, the Jinden Zenran and Yuanying Zenjin may have just descended to the immortal world and were suppressed by the laws of the immortal world and turned into meat paste. Only when you reach the level of transformation can you withstand the suppression of the laws and settle down there. Entering the realm of refining emptiness, comprehending the secrets of nothingness, one can use a vast spiritual power to sense the location of the fairyland and receive the immortal energy of the fairyland. Temper the soul and body, transform into a semi-immortal body, an immortal body, and then tear the door to the fairyland, survive the 9 immortal tribulations, and ascend to the fairyland. But now, Xuanji is only at the 9th level of the golden elixir, but he has to go and sense the location of the fairyland like a refining emptiness expert. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365, Dream of the Immortal World. If you can do this, your spirit will be tempered, your horizons will be broadened, and your future prospects will be limitless. Of course, it is almost impossible to do this normally. But now, with the help of the 8th grade fruit tree of time, there is a glimmer of possibility. Suppressing the impetuousness in his heart, Xuanji was as calm as water, and his mind merged into the fruit tree of time, rising along the trunk, and penetrating into the endless void. In the endless void, there are endless storms of time and space. Here, not only is space chaotic, but even time is chaotic. In the confusion, you can't find your direction. So you can only follow the trunk and follow your intuition. At this moment, the trunk was shaking and the mind was blown by the void storm and went to destruction. Puff. Xuanji opened his eyes and spit out a mouthful of blood. Failed. The first time he failed without suspense. Failed. Yes. Sister Wanai, it's your turn. Jinzi said. Wanai nodded, walked forward and sat down. Her hands pressed against Xuanji, and her soul rested. The souls of both parties were entangled, and the yin and yang energies flowed, using the power of Xuanxiu to repair the injuries of the souls. 3 days later, the souls were healed. Xuanji used the fruit tree of time again, to start looking for the fairyland, but he still failed. Once, twice, 3 times, and failed 20 times in a row. Injured again and again, repaired again and again, the soul was steadily improving. Especially after experiencing the baptism of the void storm, the soul became more and more tenacious. If you say that at the beginning, the soul was like a sand sculpture, but now it is concrete. At the 21st time, Xuanji seemed to think of something, and directly activated the mobile phone. Destiny deduction continued, following the perception in the dark, exploring into the void. Suddenly, a bronze gate was seen in the void. Behind this bronze gate, there are endless mysteries and endless treasures. As long as this gate is opened, there will be endless fortune. Is this the door to the fairyland? Looking at the door to the fairyland, Xuanji seemed to see an endless road. Things that were not understood and understood in the past are now clearly visible. The shortcomings of the past spells, the flaws of the magical powers, and other things are all clearly seen. Just by observing the gate to the fairyland, Xuanji felt that his mind was sublimating, and his vision was sublimating, just like a frog in a well seeing a wider world. After a long time, he felt a little tired, his mind shrank, and he returned to his body. Close your eyes, recall and comprehend carefully. When you open your eyes again, the golden elixir is running, and the magic power of creation is surging. The magic power is still 3300 Jazi, without any increase, but the magic power has increased a little. Spirituality, the golden elixir is beating, and the baby inside has a little more spirituality, which seems to be no longer dull, but has become lively. Looking at the world again, the world has become lively. Feel the earth, water, wind, and fire, the birth and death of the 5 element, the flow of yin and yang, the changes of the primordial magnetism, the changes of time and space, and the understanding is improved in the dark. Xuanji, what do you feel? Jinzi asked. I failed again this time, but it made me see a different world. Many times, failure is also a good thing. Xuanji smiled. Failed again and again, saw my shortcomings again and again, corrected my shortcomings again and my cultivation was steadily improving and progressing steadily. Such failures are very beneficial to cultivators. Of course, those glass hearts that are unable to recover after failure, let's not talk about it. Continuously digesting the insights, 3 months later, Xuanji began the 22nd attack. This time, the attack was less impetuous and more calm. Success is the best, but failure is also good. Some people push forward all the way, invincible all the way, and finally become immortals. Some people have many victories, but also many failures, but they also become immortals in the end. On the road to cultivating immortals, success is not the goal, but constant progress is the goal. As long as you are constantly making progress, even if you fail continuously, it is not a big problem. But if you stop moving forward, even if you win repeatedly, it is meaningless. The divine mind attached to the tree trunk entered the void and sensed the door to the immortal world. The divine thought flashed and hid it, but the gate of the fairyland did not move at all. Pure Yang broken sword, open. At this moment, Xuanji's mind moved, and the pure Yang broken sword appeared, urging the broken sword to chop down. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, the gate of the fairyland shattered. It was hazy inside, and then, the laws of heaven and earth, the vitality of the fairyland, and all kinds of information like a landslide and tsunami, rolled down and entered the divine thought. Boom. With a violent sound, this trace of divine thought was directly blown up. Puff. Xuanji spit out a mouthful of blood again. His expression was listless, but his eyes were flashing with light, digesting these fairyland vitality, digesting the traces of fairyland laws, and the fairyland perception. After just a moment of comprehension, the golden elixir made a violent sound, and there were more Deo patterns on the flawless golden elixir, like a sky track, like a sky mark. The upper limit of mana is increasing, from 3300 Jazi to 3500 Jazi. The soul seemed to be baptized, as if it had turned into a dazzling gem, and all the dust on it dissipated. The golden light on the ground was transforming, rising from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. The pure Yang true fire was transforming, and there were more runes in the flames. The flames turned into runes, and the power of the pure Yang true fire was raised to a higher level. The sword technique was also changing, and it had more star-like power, evolving into star runes. The power of the sword technique was increasing, and it even glimpsed a trace of the secret of perfection. So that's how it is. The supreme magical power is called supreme, because it touches a trace of the law of the fairy world. At least it can be created by a powerful person who refines the void, and only a powerful person who refines the void can cultivate it to perfection. As for the cultivators below the refinement of the void, at most they are in the great success realm, and are destined to be unable to be perfect. This is not a problem of talent and understanding, but a problem of vision. If you can't touch the secrets of the fairy world, the supreme magical power will never be perfect. Xuanji rested for a moment, and started a new attempt. With the help of the Tree of Time, the divine mind entered the endless void. With the help of destiny deduction, it found the door to the fairyland, and with the help of the pure Yang broken sword, it split the door to the fairyland. Then, the vitality and information of the fairyland poured down, and was blown up again. After failing again and again, after failing 18 times, the divine mind finally held on, and did not explode. With a move of the divine mind, it entered the fairyland. In the fairyland, the so-called fairy energy is not pure, but a combination of various high-level energies. There are hundreds of these vital energies. There is Kingling Ki suitable for enlightenment, Mingguan Ki suitable for tempering the soul, Pure Yang Ki is good for male cultivators, Pure Yin Ki is good for female cultivators, and there is a 5-element Ki that can temper the spiritual roots. Different fairy Ki has different effects. Swish. The next moment, the divine mind flew up and looked at the fairyland. The golden sun, the brilliant laws, the rich fairy Ki, many powerful people, and the rich resources. At this moment, the dream of the fairyland rose. Chapter 366, the 10th transformation of the golden elixir, changes in luck. Everyone has a dream. In the previous life, there was the American dream, the well-off dream, and the daydream. The American dream was shattered by a certain event. The well-off dream, if you talk too much, it means harmony. Too many daydreams means sadness. In this world, he has one more dream. The dream of the fairyland. Ascend to the fairyland. Because the fairyland has more resources and more powerful people, it is easier to comprehend the laws and become a strong person there. Click, click. Under the watering of the laws of the fairyland, the golden elixir is undergoing a drastic transformation and turning into a 10-turn golden elixir. Feeling the golden elixir at this moment, Xuanji has only one feeling: powerful, incomparably powerful, and powerful beyond the rules. The 9-turn golden elixir is the ultimate of the Purple Mansion realm. In the Purple Mansion realm, the 9-turn golden elixir represents the flawlessness of the golden elixir and represents the ceiling of the golden elixir realm. The foundation is extremely solid. Not only is the combat power of the same realm strong, the cultivation speed is fast, and the bottleneck difficulty of each major realm is relatively low, and the bottleneck can be easily broken to enter a higher realm. The 9-turn golden elixir is also called the seed of the immortal. Among the 10 immortals who ascended, 5 of them condensed the 9-turn golden pill. The remaining 5 cultivators did not condense the 9-turn golden pill, but they spent a lot of effort in the following realms to make up for the shortcomings of their own foundation. As for the 10-turn golden pill, it has surpassed the rules and restrictions of the Purple Mansion realm and the ceiling. With the transformation of the absorption and connection rules, the golden pill is transforming and turning into the 10-turn golden pill. The golden pill emits a trace of mana, constantly transforming the physique. The physique is improving, and the origin of the pure Yang Taoist body is slowly evolving and transforming into an immortal body. This process is very slow, but it is a very steady progress. The blood of the body is evolving, and is evolving into immortal blood. At this moment, if a top cultivator comes forward to observe him, he will find that his life essence is changing, and the immortal is gradually transforming, like a young immortal beast. It is difficult to raise a dragon in shallow water. Many times, the world restricts the development of a cultivator. Just like Zhang Sanfeng, in the martial arts world, at most he can become a grandmaster, and his lifespan will be 150 years old, and he will die. But if he goes to the fairy world, relying on Zhang Sanfeng's talent, he will definitely become a peerless demon, a giant in the world of immortal cultivation, and the probability of ascending to immortality is very high. Similarly, compared with the fairy world, the Purple Mansion realm is just a mortal world, while the fairy world is the center of all worlds and the starting point of the universe. It's like a small pond and a sea. In the fairy world, any beast that descends to the Purple Mansion realm can become a top-level beast. This gap is not because the cultivators are not strong, but because the world is not strong. Those top-level worlds have perfect world laws, more profound avenues, and more profound laws. The bloodline of the beasts born here is of high level, high potential limit, and high limit in the same realm, but in some small worlds, the world laws are incomplete, the origin of the avenue is shallow, and the laws are sparse. The bloodline of the beasts born here is relatively low, and the upper limit is also low. If a divine dragon born in the Purple Mansion realm collides with a divine dragon in the immortal realm, the latter will definitely be the one with a strong bloodline and powerful combat power. At the time of the 9th transformation of the golden elixir, Xuanji was very powerful, but he was only strong in this realm. If he met some cultivators from the big realm, he might not be defeated. However, with the help of the infusion of the laws of the immortal realm, the golden elixir was tempered again and sublimated, making up for the defects and deficiencies of the laws. At this time, the upper limit is constantly rising, and it is no longer restricted by this realm. The potential is even greater, and there are infinite possibilities in the future supreme fortune. At this time, he seems to have descended from the exiled immortal. But, running the golden elixir, the mana is rising to 4000 Jazi mana. The purity of the mana is higher, and urging a trace of mana, in a thought, it is the momentum of overturning the sea. It is estimated that Xuanji, who has 10 golden elixir transformations, can defeat 3 of himself who have 9 golden elixir transformations. The 10th turn of the golden elixir is already like this. The 11th and 12th turn of the golden elixir, what a blessing it is. Lu Xuanji was slightly delighted and planned to continue exploring the unknown. Life is happy because of the unknown. Life is meaningful because of exploration. Thinking about this, Lu Xuanji calculated the time, which was exactly the node of 100 years. At the moment of the 100th year, his luck rose to the peak. At this moment, all the luck of the Chu state gathered around him, like a vortex of luck, like a child of destiny. This moment was the moment when his luck was the strongest. But after this year, his luck will decline, and most of the luck gathered on him will dissipate. The way of heaven is impermanent, and will not favor someone forever. After a certain period of time, the luck will shift, and favor another child of luck. Feeling the strong luck, Lu Xuanji no longer hesitated, and continued to encourage the energy, and began to impact the 11th turn of the golden elixir. Xuanji, in a valley. In the center of the valley, there is a thatched house. In front of the thatched hut, an old man was drinking tea, savoring the taste of the tea. He closed his eyes, and enjoyed it slowly. After a moment, he opened his eyes, and a trace of melancholy and loss flashed in his eyes. That guy's gone. Fortunately, he was lucky. Not long ago, he obtained immortal gold in the secret realm, forged the flawless golden elixir, and entered the realm of the 9-turn golden elixir. It can be said to be supreme fortune. But the 3 tribulations of the nascent soul are not easy to walk. If you are not careful, you may die in the tribulation. The old man sighed. Okay Xuanji, it was good to be a Xuanji in the previous life, but God gave him the opportunity to be promoted to the god of transformation, but now he has fallen. This is equivalent to, if you don't take what God gives, you will be punished. How difficult it is to cultivate to become a god of transformation for the second time, even hopeless. In the mortal world, after the emperor loses the throne, he becomes the emperor, or is imprisoned. How difficult it is to ascend the throne again, and become the emperor again, even impossible. This is true for mortal emperors and cultivators. After reaching the nascent soul stage, the cultivator can pry the law, return from the catastrophe, and live another life. After reincarnation, with the cultivation experience, connections, and cultivation resources of the previous life, it is reasonable to say that the reincarnated person should quickly become powerful and invincible. In fact, this is not the case. Many cultivators cannot return to the peak after reincarnation, but die in obscurity, because the luck is no longer there. Under the favor of fate, some cultivators have strong luck like fire, and they are the darlings of heaven and earth. But when they fall, the luck on them also dissipates, and the favor of the luck of heaven and earth also disappears. In the eyes of the heaven, they are failures. After reincarnation, despite the cultivation experience of the previous life, the luck is no longer there, and the catastrophe continues, and it is easy to fall in accidents. Among 100 reincarnated cultivators, only 1 or 2 return to the peak. After losing it, it is almost impossible to get it back. After reincarnation, Ge Changfeng had bad luck and encountered catastrophes many times. Thinking about his old friend's experience, Kunpeng Xuanji frowned slightly. Hey, the fortune of Chu has changed drastically. Something big has happened. At this moment, Kunpeng Xuanji suddenly felt that the fortune of Chu had changed drastically, and it seemed that something big had happened. Chapter 367 The Beast Tide returns. In the thatched cottage, the old man frowned slightly. Looking into the distance, he saw that the luck in the Chu state was changing dramatically. It seemed that a shocking change was happening. The old man calculated with his fingers. But what exactly happened was unknown. What happened in the Chu state? Is it a secret realm that appeared? Or is there a strong man in the 9th level of the nascent soul that is impacting the god transformation? Or something else? I can't guess. The old man frowned slightly, then shook his head, very helpless. The secret of heaven cannot be leaked. If it can be leaked, it must be something ambiguous or something that is not a secret of heaven. The old man continued to deduce, but he felt a resistance. The will of heaven in the dark was preventing him from calculating. If he continued to deduce, it would be against heaven. Of course, if the benefits were great enough, he would not mind going against heaven. But just to satisfy extreme curiosity, it was against heaven, and damaged his own luck, which was not worth it. Come here, said the old man. The next moment, a black shadow appeared, seemingly existing in the void and invisible, as if representing the darkness of the dark. Greetings, Master. Order 1, the Shadow Demon lineage will be dispatched to investigate what happened in Chu. Order 2, the demons of the 100,000 mountains will be dispatched to trigger a beast tide. This time, the Yuanying Demon King will take action and kill more Yuanying cultivators. Order 3, the Anbu will assassinate some geniuses. Order 4, incite some demon cultivators to destroy the territory of Chu and kill some immortal cultivation families. In short, we must make Chu chaotic, the old man said, his eyes green and emitting a trace of cold light. At this moment, he is no longer the kind old man, but an unparalleled demon master. This old man is very kind in the ordinary world and is an amiable old grandfather, but at the critical moment, he shows a ferocious side, a destructive side, and a crazy side. Along the way, he has achieved enlightenment and become a god, and he has killed so many cultivators and demons that he can't remember. How can he be kind and soft-hearted? At this moment, he resolutely launched a beast tide against Chu. Chu is in a certain mountainous area. There is a remote mountain village in which there are only a few hundred families. At this time, the farmers began to cultivate the fields and take care of the crops. For them, the crops are everything. If the crops are well harvested, they will not be hungry. As for other things, they did not think about it. The stories of immortals circulating outside are just pastimes and entertainment after dinner. In the fields, a middle-aged man was hoeing the fields and clearing weeds. He wore a bamboo hat on his head, had dark skin, and wore a linen coat. After working for a long time, he seemed a little tired. The middle-aged man sat on the ground and began to rest. Suddenly frowned slightly, feeling that the luck of the Chu state was fluctuating. He looked at the Xuan mountains again, but saw that the luck was fluctuating violently, as if it was coming to oppress. Trouble, some trouble. Trouble sometimes. But it has nothing to do with me. As long as he doesn't do it, everything will be safe. After just thinking for a moment, the middle-aged man stood up and continued to hoe the fields. As for the war between the Chu state and the Xuan mountains, it was just an interesting game to kill time. At this moment, Teeling Pass was in danger. The 3 major sects of Chu state contacted and notified the cultivation families and scattered cultivation forces below. The forces that were originally scattered everywhere quickly combined together and turned into a large army of cultivators to block the front. The storm was coming, and the war was about to break out. According to some intelligence, the scale of the beast tide this time would be unprecedentedly huge. Enter the highest alert state. There will be Yuanying demons to fight with the strong men of the human race. After receiving the information, many cultivators were shocked, as if their paws were trembling, as if their hearts were trembling. But after the trembling, there were waves of excitement. War, of course, will bring a large number of deaths. But war is also a reshuffle of the major groups and the reorganization of interests. Risks and benefits coexist. It depends on how you face them. Boom boom boom. After a day of preparation, the beast tide began to move out, sweeping everything and flooding the Chu state. The cultivators of the human race and the cultivators of the demon race fought together and fought bloody battles together. The beast tide is coming. At this time, Xuanji also got the information, frowned slightly and said, the timing is wrong. It's really full of disasters. I have to go out to prevent accidents. With that, Xuanji disappeared. Sitting on the top of the mountain, he activated the formation. Suddenly, thousands of formations were activated around Xiang Mountain. These formations were stacked one after another. The formations were stacked one after another, and the murderous aura was surging, and the tide of destruction was sweeping. The originally quiet and harmonious Xiang Mountain was like a giant beast awakening. Within a radius of 30 miles, many monks stopped their work and entered a state of combat readiness. Some core monks even entered certain nodes of the formation, controlled a corner of some formations, and strengthened the power of the formation, which raised the power of the formation to a higher level. Other monks were assigned to certain positions, some as forwards, some as substitutes, or formed a team of 3 or 5. All monks were mobilized and entered a state of universal soldiering. The monks of the Xiang Mountain headquarters were on the move, walking everywhere, issuing tokens, and promoting the rules. There were rewards for killing monsters, and there were also pensions for those who died in battle. The premise was to repel the monsters' attacks. If Xiang Mountain was breached, the monks inside would be killed, and there would be no reward or anything like that. Only by surviving could we think of other things. Boom boom boom. Countless monsters attacked, continuously attacking the formation, like a tide, and there seemed to be no end. Soon the power of the formation was activated, and sword lights flashed. A large number of monsters were killed by the formation, and countless monster corpses were collected. But at this moment, the spirit stones in the formation were also consumed violently, and some of the formation patterns were even damaged. The monster clan is the least short of cannon fodder. Seeing this scene, Xuanji also had a slight headache. The monster clan has a terrifying fertility. Every year, a large number of monsters are born, one after another, and the number is quite large. Because of their strong reproductive capacity and the large number of monsters, the resources and spiritual energy of the 100,000 mountains are not enough to meet the needs of the monsters. Therefore, they launch attacks on human countries such as Xuanji every 100 years on average, consuming a large number of monsters in the war. If the monsters are defeated, a large number of monsters will die, alleviating the resource pressure of the 100,000 mountains. If the monsters win, they can plunder a lot of nutrients in the human territory. For the high level monsters, launching a beast tide is not a loss, whether they win or lose. In the war, they can use the repeated fighting to cultivate some top talents. Only the strong ones who fight are the real strong ones. Those who can't fight have been eliminated long ago. Chapter 368, Bailingar appears, Great Wish Spell. Boom boom boom. The battle broke out. The monsters rushed towards the formation of Xiang Mountain in groups, one after another, continuously, like a tide. The formation of Xiang Mountain was running, like a huge millstone running, constantly strangling the monsters at the bottom. These monsters at the bottom, the lowest level of cultivation was only practicing ki, and the stronger ones were only building foundations, so weak and pitiful. But when tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of them gathered together to form a formation and rushed forward, even Xuanji, who was sitting on the top of the mountain, felt a little tingling on his scalp. When you reach the Yuanying realm, your cultivation is strong, and you can control the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and cast some large-scale spells. It is not a problem to destroy 100,000 low-level monsters in one move, but every time you attack, you will consume a lot of mana. Once the mana loss is huge, and you happen to be sniped by other Yuanying masters, you may be in danger of falling. Yuanying's engine must also use his mana reasonably and not act rashly. Boom boom boom. The monsters attacked the formation in groups, and after more than a dozen waves of attacks, behind the beast tide, 15 terrifying auras appeared. Some of them were like swords, severing the past and present. Some were charming the world, like peerless enchantresses. Some were burly, with murderous auras. Some were full of blood, as if they were about to evolve into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Some were golden crows, about to evolve into a big sun. 15 demon kings appeared and attacked the formation together. The formation was shaking, like a tall building in an earthquake. Longzuan. Xuanji ordered. Yes. At this moment, a woman in white appeared, with dragon horns on her head, heroic and extraordinary, with awe-inspiring sword energy, and the void was slightly distorted. Behind her were 11 other women in white, who combined with each other to form the 12 ancient sword formation, attacking the demon clan's golden elixir. Boom boom boom. The two sides immediately started fighting, with sword energy surging, flames boiling, water mist filling the air, and blood energy soaring to the sky. After a moment of confrontation, 3 golden elixir demons of the demon clan died, and 5 were injured, and they began to retreat one after another. After a short rest, the beast tide condensed again, turning into a tide and rushing forward, mixed with some purple mansion monsters, and golden elixir monsters were commanding from the back. But, at this moment, 100 miles away, 3 huge shadows rose up. A golden crow soared into the sky. The light was scorching. It seemed to evolve into a pure yang sun. There was a dragon body rolling. It seemed to evolve into a sea of clouds. There was a 5-tailed demon fox, urging its 5 tails. It seemed to launch a peerless attack. 3 terrifying auras locked on. Xuanji frowned slightly, and the black and white swords above his head rose up. The black sword represents death. The white sword represents life. The two swords, the aura condensed into one, cutting towards the distance. Sizzle. Sizzle. The invisible divine thoughts collided, making a hissing sound in the void, a trace of golden sparks flying, and the mountains danced with silver snakes. After a moment of confrontation, each of them restrained their auras, like an assassin disappearing in the darkness. Xuanji also restrained her aura, and turned into her usual appearance. She sheathed her sword, with her edge restrained, and turned into impermanence. But she knew that the nascent soul demon was watching her in secret, waiting for her to reveal a flaw, and then giving her a fatal blow. Thousands of miles away, on a mountain peak, the girl in white looked into the distance, as if in deep thought. She seemed to be thinking about something. When the sky is murderous, the stars will move, and the stars will change. When the earth is murderous, dragons and snakes will rise from the land. When people are murderous, the earth will turn upside down. The beast tide that is rare in 3000 years is coming. Is this the fate of Xuanji? The white-clothed man was calculating with his fingers on his mobile phone. The six tails behind him were shaking, and the power of heaven was running and calculating. Suddenly, pictures of the future appeared one after another. In the first picture, Xiao's engine killed 3 nascent soul demons in succession, and he was full of murderous aura. At this moment, a nascent soul 9 level demon appeared, broke through Xiang Mountain, and attacked Xiao's engine. After a fierce battle of 30 moves, Xiao's engine was defeated and killed on the spot. In the second picture, Xiao's engine confronted 3 Yuanian great demons. At this moment, the 3 Yuanian great demons urged a 6th grade spiritual treasure, and suddenly a flash of axe light flashed, breaking the formation of Xiang Mountain. Xiao's engine was defeated, and could only flee with a few elites. At this moment, a Yuanian 9th level demon appeared and killed Xiao's engine. In the third picture, Xiao's engine fought fiercely with a Yuanian 9th level demon, and was about to be killed. A Yuanian 9th level human's engine appeared, and came to rescue. The two sides fought fiercely, but there was no winner. But soon, more than a dozen Yuanian great demons attacked, and the two sides fought fiercely. In the siege, Xiao's engine died on the spot. The fourth picture, the fifth picture, and the sixth picture showed the future pictures. About 9 pictures, 9 futures, and 9 possibilities. This is the future she can deduce, and there are more futures that cannot be deduced. Forget it, I'll help you. Balinger said with a smile, urging the 6 tails. The power of the heavens was running, and the future in the dark was slowly changing. The 6th magical power is called peek into the future. After peeking into the future, there is a possibility of changing the future. After this change, it may develop for the better, or it may become worse and worse. In the cave bead, Xuanji began to strive for the 11th turn of the golden elixir. The 9th turn of the golden elixir represents the extreme of the golden elixir. The 10th turn of the golden elixir represents transcending the extreme and transcending the rules. After transcending, there is no way forward. The 10th turn of the golden elixir is equivalent to standing on the top of the mountain, and there is no way forward. If you continue to move forward, you may fall off the cliff and never recover. With a thought, he thought of a skill, Great Wish Technique. Activating the Great Wish Technique, the luck on his body was immediately consumed drastically, and then the power of the heavenly way rolled down and infused down. I want to condense the 11th turn. Without a moment's hesitation, Xuanji activated his luck, and his luck was consumed violently, turning into firewood, and activated the power of the heavenly Dao. The power of the heavenly Dao surged violently, making a sound like a tsunami, and entered the golden elixir. The golden elixir was undergoing a violent transformation, transforming into the 11th turn of the golden elixir. The outside world was still calm, and it seemed that there was not much change. But in the cave bead, the golden elixir in Xuanji's tension was rolling violently. In the golden elixir, the baby's body shape, appearance, and outline became more and more real, as if the golden elixir was about to break open and walk out of the illusion and become real. At the center of the baby's eyebrows, a mark appeared on the root. The mark seemed to be the texture of the Great Dao, and it seemed to be the evolution of the Great Dao, containing the destiny of the life. The mark was simple, and seemed to be the evolution of the Great Dao. With the appearance of the mark, Xuanji vaguely felt that his soul was awakening, as if awakening a great talent. But if you perceive it carefully, it seems that nothing has happened. Whoosh! The power of heaven rolled down again, continuously, and the mark became more and more complete. Chapter 369. 12 Transformations of the Golden Elixir, the Long River of Destiny. Hoo 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 hoo. The luck was being consumed drastically, and the purple luck was falling to blue. After blue, the luck fell again. As the luck fell, the golden elixir was undergoing a drastic transformation, moving towards the 11th turn. In the golden elixir, the mark between the baby's eyebrows became more and more real, and the incomplete mark gradually became complete, and the information about the mark also emerged. This is the pure yang fate. Xuanji frowned slightly, with joy, but also a little bit of uneasiness. Fate represents the fate in the dark. Condensing the supreme fate can be favored by fate. At this moment, condensing the pure yang fate, in the dark, it was favored by the pure yang way, and a trace of the great luck of heaven and earth descended on him. The essence of the 9 turns of the golden elixir and the 10th turn of the golden elixir is to continuously strengthen the cultivator himself, transform his bloodline, improve his qualifications, and turn the cultivator into a genius, a peerless evildoer, and become the so-called immortal king, and immortal emperor. However, this world is cruel. It doesn't mean that, if I have good aptitude, good comprehension, and strong aptitude, I can become a strong man. I also need the favor of fate. There is no shortage of geniuses in the world. Some geniuses are evil, with extraordinary aptitude, brilliant talents, outstanding wisdom, and amazing comprehension. It's a pity that they are not favored by fate. When the calamity comes, they turn into ashes. On the contrary, some cultivators have poor aptitude and average comprehension, but they are favored by fate, carp turning into dragons, soaring into the sky. The 11th turn of Jinder is to help cultivators condense their fate and get the favor of fate. With a move of mind, he was about to impact the 12th turn, but found that his luck was falling to green, falling to the warning line. With my current luck, it seems that it is not enough to impact the 12th turn, so I might as well give up. The 11th turn of Jinder is already above hundreds of millions of cultivators. If the impact of the 12th turn of Jinder fails, it may fall. Xuanji thought for a moment, and was about to end the impact. But just when he was about to give up the impact of the 12th turn, his mind was warning him that once he gave up, he would discard a lot and lose a lot. He activated his phone and started destiny deduction. The screen of the phone was changing, and the information was surging up and down, but at the end, 3 words appeared. Unknown. The phone did not give an answer either. But many times, no answer is the best answer. Xuanji encouraged his energy, and began to impact the 12 turns, not for anything else, just to explore the unknown, just to see the scenery ahead, just to have no regrets for his future. As for other things, he would not think about them. If you think too much, your heart will be hurt. Haha, the chess piece is finally made. Xiaoyu, it's become a little dragon. Above the fairyland, in a palace, white clouds surrounded the fairy air, and a trace of fairy air was surging around. In the palace, there was an old man sitting on the throne. At this moment, the old man, who did not show his emotions, laughed loudly, with joy in his eyes, as if he saw the supreme delicacy. Chess pieces. Not everyone is qualified to be chess pieces. Many cultivators are too poor to be his chess pieces. For example, Xuanji has the immortal sword body and the 9-turn golden elixir, which makes him a peerless genius, but that's all. He is not worthy of being his chess piece. In the past, Xuanji was not qualified and was not worthy of being his chess piece. But when the golden elixir turns 11 and condenses a pure yang fate, he has the possibility of becoming his chess piece. Now Xiaoyu has become Xianalong, and there are infinite possibilities. When he transcends the tribulation and ascends to heaven, it will be the time to harvest. The old man smiled and looked at the chess pieces below, very satisfied. However, this person got the pure yang broken sword, and is considered the descendant of the pure yang Taoist. If the pure yang Taoist was alive, I would be a little afraid. But not long ago, news came that the pure yang Taoist explored the secret realm in the meteorite sea, but fell in it. The pure Yang lineage dissipated and disappeared. There is nothing to be afraid of. Sensing the situation below, the old man smiled. Everything was calculated. But soon, the old man's face changed drastically. This person is looking for death. At this moment, the old man's face suddenly changed, as if he had seen a ghost. He is too bold. He dared to challenge the 12th turn of the golden elixir. The 9th turn is a small perfection, and the 12th turn is a great perfection. The 12th turn is extremely dangerous, and is called a taboo. There was once a peerless Avaldoa who was unwilling to accept it, and wanted to challenge the 12th turn of the golden elixir, but he turned into ashes. Fortunately, a few people survived, but their vitality was seriously damaged, and their fate was broken. The old man continued to observe, and his divine sense sensed the scene below, but he saw Xuanji vomiting blood. Chunayang's fate was broken, his origin was severely damaged, and his realm was falling. From the 11th turn of the golden elixir to the 10th turn of the golden elixir, and then to the 9th turn of the golden elixir. It's useless. This chess piece is useless. It's useless. The old man sighed. The 11th turn of the golden elixir can be called an eternal Avaldoa. The 10th turn of the golden elixir can be called a supreme genius. The 9th turn of the golden elixir can be called a peerless genius. With the failure of the impact of the 12th Chindan, Xuanji's origin was severely damaged under such backlash, and his potential was declining. From the level of the eternal demon, he continued to fall to the level of the peerless Xuanji. The peerless Xuanji was also a top genius in the mortal world, and was called a promising immortal. But the mere hope of becoming an immortal was not taken seriously by the old man. What is the hope of becoming an immortal? There are tens of thousands of immortals under his jurisdiction in the immortal palace. What is the mere hope of becoming an immortal? What a pity. The chess piece is useless. The old man sighed, and threw away the chess piece and ignored him. Boom boom boom. At this moment, Xuanji activated the Great Wish technique, and began to impact the 12th Jindan. He didn't know the details. The previous few difficulties, at least he knew the road ahead, and knew how to go. But the 12th turn, there is no text description. Some are just taboos, and some are just unspeakable. Boom boom boom. Activating the Great Wish technique, the luck on his body was immediately consumed. Then, the energy and spirit on his body were also drained and consumed. But there is still no road ahead. In fact, I can't even see where the road is. With everything exhausted, Xuanji's mind was depressed, and was about to fall into endless darkness. But suddenly, an illusory long river appeared in front of him. Born from nothingness, it has no beginning and no end, no origin, and no end. It is not only real, but also illusory. The river is flowing, making a gurgling sound. In the river, there are fish surging, some dragons are moving forward, and some shrimps are moving forward. Some creatures have died, and turned into mud, sand, etc. at the bottom of the river. Is this the long river of fate? Xuanji suddenly thought. Looking into the long river of fate, is this the secret of the 12 turns of the golden elixir? No wonder it is taboo. No wonder it is unspeakable. P.S. Please subscribe and ask for monthly tickets. When subscribing, please vote for recommendations appropriately. It feels so little. Chapter 370, Against the Flow of Destiny. What is the Great Dao? The Great Dao governs all time and space, all existence, all cause and effect, all laws, and all luck. It represents the unpredictable, unthinkable, and unguessable. The concrete form of the Great Dao is the long river of fate. Ordinary cultivators cannot jump out of the long river of fate and let fate control them. Those with advanced cultivation can avoid fate and seek good fortune and avoid disaster. Those with higher cultivation can reduce their own cause and effect, and choose a better fate among many future destiny lines. As for the top powers, they can jump out of the long river of fate, not be disturbed by the long river of fate, and not be affected by all kinds of disasters. The so-called 12 turns of the golden elixir is to peek into the long river of fate, and peek into one's own future. Is this the 12 turns of the golden elixir? You can peek into the ultimate fate and your own future. Xuanji pondered. The long river of fate has countless branches and countless possibilities, representing countless changes. One picture after another also appeared. In one picture, he did not meet Xuanji. He was in exile after the Lu family was wiped out. Wandering outside, he died at the hands of a casual cultivator. In one scene, he met Yi Fixu, and the Lu family adopted her. However, Yi Fixu's identity as a spiritual root was exposed, which attracted the demon cultivators to attack, and the Lu family was exterminated, and he also died in the calamity. In one scene, he did not meet Xuanji, and as a result, the Lu family was besieged by several immortal cultivation clans and was destroyed, and he also died in the bloody battle. In one scene, he did not condense the pure Yang Dao body, his potential was limited, and he failed to attack the purple mansion, and sat on the spot. In one scene, he died in the beast tide, and was killed by a golden elixir monster. Countless scenes appeared, representing countless futures and countless possibilities. In some scenes, he died in the golden elixir, in some scenes he died in the transformation of the spirit, and in some scenes he died in the tribulation. Among the many destinies, in the best future branch, he had constant adventures, good luck, was favored by beautiful women, and got help from noble people, and made rapid progress all the way, to become a great man of the Tao. At the moment of attacking the ninefold immortal tribulation, he died in the tribulation, turned into ashes. Is this my future? I won't accept it. I want to find a supreme road in the endless future, a road to immortality, a supreme road that will make me immortal, even if the world decays, and I will not perish, even if the sun and the moon perish. At this moment, Xuanji has completely understood the secret of the 12 turns of the golden elixir. The 12 turns of the golden elixir can sense the long river of fate, the countless branches of the cultivator's fate, countless futures, and countless possibilities. The cultivator can use this opportunity to modify his own fate and choose a bright future from countless possibilities. What a good fortune, what a taboo. No wonder cultivators throughout the ages have said that it is unspeakable. This is almost an opportunity to change fate against the will of heaven. Boom boom boom. Xuanji's spirit is burning, and he can see through the long river of fate. He can see more futures, from dozens of branches to hundreds of branches. Among the many branches of fate, he saw a branch, which safely passed the ninefold immortal tribulation, and ascended to the immortal world. As for the future, after becoming an immortal, he can no longer see it. As soon as the mind moves, one must choose this branch of destiny in the endless nothingness, and determine one's own future. Buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, the mobile phone, that had been silent for a long time, appeared. The mobile phone flashed and entered the long river of destiny, turning into a small boat. The waves were surging, and the torrent of destiny was sweeping, as if to submerge the small boat, but the small boat was shaking, and withstood the impact of destiny. The scene around was changing, and Xuanji had appeared on the small boat. The small boat, without oars or sails, was going upstream, against the long river of destiny, thinking about the distant past. The river was gurgling, and the small boat was moving forward. Xuanji looked at the river, and saw many scenes in the river. He saw that the ancestor of the Lu family only had the second level of foundation building, but he founded the immortal cultivation family Lu family, in the land of Zhongzhou. Powerful enemies besieged and came. The Jin family was destroyed, and Junzi fled. Danliang Xianzhen was born as a casual cultivator, but he had a chance encounter, and became a powerful god in one fell swoop, and founded the Danliang school. Liu Ayumozhen, who was just a shepherd boy, entered the secret realm, had a chance encounter with his predecessors, and founded the Hehuan demon vein in New State. He also saw that the Hehuan ancestor mistakenly entered the Hehuan school, but took a different path. The pure Yang sword suppressed the world, the Chaos Yin ring restrained the world's female cultivators, and the beauty picture captured the world's female cultivators. He also saw that the Emperor of Samsara rose from humbleness, became a great power of Hedao in 500 years, and entered the Sword Island. An unparalleled immortal sect was completely destroyed overnight. He also saw that the pure Yang Taoist was invincible all the way, swept across the world, was undefeated throughout his life, broke through the 9 immortal tribulations, and ascended to the immortal world. Legendary figures appeared one after another, and pictures were displayed one after another. Watching the river of destiny flowing, it was like flipping through history books, looking at the chronicles, legends, and epic pictures. Seeing it made his blood boil. Xuanji wanted to be one of them. Huolala. The river was flowing, the boat was going against the flow, and a picture was seen in the river. In the endless void, a Taoist stood in it, pointed his finger, and suddenly the earth, water, wind, and fire surged. The rules of the universe were changing. Endless energy was gathering. Many laws were condensed together. Cause and effect were entangled together, and gradually evolved into a big world. The fairyland was born. The universe originally had no center, but because of the birth of the fairyland, it had a center. The fairyland was expanding, gradually becoming the center of the universe, and becoming an absolute world. Countless Xuanji flew up to the fairyland, and the heroes competed for the top. Huolala. The river was flowing, and the picture disappeared. The long river of destiny, flowing forever, went upstream all the way, and saw a peerless Xuanji, an eternal Ivaldoa, and the heroes competed for the top. The long river of fate witnessed the rise of many geniuses, and also witnessed the disappearance of many geniuses. There are many eras that are not recorded in history books. Many geniuses disappeared in the long river of fate. Crash. Suddenly, the boat came in the opposite direction and gradually reached the end of the long river of fate. In this era, the universe has just been opened up, and the yin and yang energies have not yet separated. There is chaotic energy everywhere. The universe is desolate, but it is nurturing laws, nurturing the sun, moon, stars, and all living things. This is the Taiji era. Crash. The boat is going in the opposite direction, passing through the Taiji era, the Taisu era, and the Taishi era. Finally, it has reached the end of the long river of fate, the Taiyi era. In the void, there is a cosmic singularity, which ejects countless particles, scattering into the endless void, and turning into pure destruction. Looking at the scene in front of him, Lu Xuanji's mind was fluctuating. In the Taiyi era, there was only the cosmic singularity and the primordial particles ejected from the cosmic singularity. In the Taichu era, the cosmic singularity disappeared. There was ki but no form. There was no cause and effect, no law. There was only chaotic energy. In the Taishi era, the universe was in chaos, but it was born with vitality. There were innate demons and initial laws. In the Taisu era, the initial cosmic space took shape, and the initial cause and effect and order were born. In the Taiji era, yin and yang had not yet been completely separated. The stars had just been born, and the world was desolate. After the Taiji era, the universe was completely condensed and formed. The planets condensed. The evolution of all things was completed. The innate demons were bred, and all things evolved. Entering the era of innate demons competing for hegemony. Then, entering the era of acquired creatures, the human race, the demon race, the barbarian race and other races were born, and the heroes competed for hegemony until the present era. Chapter 371, 12 Golden Pill Transformations, Controlling Destiny. The universe was conceived, the 5 and 8 element, the evolution of all things, the competition among the heroes, and so on. All of these scenes were in his mind. Lu Xuanji's mind was fluctuating, and his horizons were broadened. Observing all this, Lu Xuanji suddenly sat upright, closed his eyes, and began to comprehend. In his body, the aura was changing, and the golden elixir was transforming. On the golden elixir, there was the aura of the 5 and 8 element, and the original mark of the universe. Comprehending these, Lu Xuanji's mind moved, and he began to deduce a method, the 5 and 8 element sutra. The sutra was changing, rising, and falling, and constantly flowing and dying. After comprehending for a long time, Lu Xuanji opened his eyes. Puff. He spit out a mouthful of blood, and his comprehension failed. The 5 and 8 element contained the mystery of the origin of the universe and the supreme creation, which was not something that a mere golden elixir could understand. It was like a primary school student who was forced to study calculus. Swish. At this moment, the boat was moving forward. Starting from the Taiyi era, it entered the Taichu era, the Taishi era, the Taisu era, and the Taiyi era. Then, it entered the era of the struggle between gods and demons, the era of the battle between acquired gods and spirits, the era of the fairy world, and all the way to the time and space node where he was. I thought that at this moment, the boat would stop, but I never thought that the boat would continue to move forward, moving towards the distant future. In the future, there are countless possibilities, countless branches, and countless changes. But the boat is moving forward, following a tributary of fate, entering another tributary, and then entering another tributary, one tributary after another, and moving forward continuously. There are countless forks, misunderstandings, tributaries of death, etc. in the future, but the boat is moving forward, always able to choose the brightest tributary, and keep moving forward. Many times, the seemingly remote tributaries of fate, the seemingly hopeless tributaries, but after the boat moves forward, it is bright. I don't know how long I have been moving forward, and suddenly there is a sound in front of me. Ding ding ding. The chaos bell appeared, struck the long river of fate, and attacked the boat. The ancestor of the golden crow has taken action. Xuanji's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, the boat moved slightly, dodged the attack of the chaos bell, and went forward. After moving forward for a while, a black claw tore towards the boat. The boat moved slightly, like a dragon swinging its tail, and avoided the claws in a split second, disappearing in front. After moving forward for a while, a black and white take-eye diagram attacked. The boat just moved slightly, avoiding the attack, and moving forward into the distance. On the way to the future, one artifact after another, and magic weapons attacked, but the boat always avoided the attack in a split second, and moved forward into the future. I don't know how long it has been moving forward, and the boat stopped. Because here, the long river of fate has been interrupted, and there is no future. When fate is interrupted, there is only one possibility, that the universe is heading for doomsday and destruction, and all living beings have no so-called fate. Xuanji sighed slightly. All things have a lifespan, cultivators have a lifespan, immortals have a lifespan, planets have a lifespan, and the universe also has a lifespan. When the universe is destroyed and everything ends, all living things will perish, and the long river of destiny will also stop flowing. The 5 decays of heaven and man, the way of ending. Xuanji sat upright on the boat, comprehending the end of destiny and the breath of the end of the universe. The dusk of heaven and earth, the end of the universe, death, decay, decline, destruction, and destruction. After comprehending these mysteries for an unknown period of time, Xuanji opened his eyes. The boat was moving forward, and the endless future began to flow upstream, heading towards the present time and space. Hualala. The river of destiny was flowing, accompanying the boat forward, and finally returned to the present node. The boat stopped, and turned into a mobile phone again. Xuanji opened his eyes, and returned to the real world. Everything seemed to be the same, but everything changed a lot. Activating the golden elixir, with the surge of mana, a long river of destiny appeared in front of Xuanji's eyes, between reality and illusion, as if it was the evolution of the Great Way. Looking upstream of the long river of fate, there is an illusory shadow standing in the past, which seems to be about to dissipate at any time, but it seems to be eternal, and stay in the past. Looking downstream of the long river of fate, there is an illusory shadow standing in the future time and space, with a strong breath, suppressing the past and the present. Swish. At this moment, the long river of fate dissipated. Cough cough cough. Xuanji coughed, sensing the changes in his body. A sense of weakness came. His body was depleted. His spirit was depleted. The breath of the golden elixir was regressing, turning into the golden elixir 9 turns. Although his cultivation was regressing, Xuanji felt a sense of relief in his heart. In the dark, some causes and effects dissipated. It seems that now he has become safe. In the past, he was like a fish biting a hook, and his life and death were not in his own hands, but now the hook in his mouth has dissipated, and he is safe. The golden elixir 9 turns is also good, so that it will not be noticed by others. It can be low-key and safe, and it can avoid some fatal disasters. Xuanji thought. At this moment, it seems that his golden elixir is in deficit, which seems to be the 9th transformation. But in essence, it is the 12th transformation of the golden elixir. The 12th transformation of the golden elixir. At the 7th transformation, he can impact the nascent soul, but he will be the weakest nascent soul, and there is no hope of impacting the god transformation. At the 8th transformation, the golden elixir has a deep foundation, and has the qualifications of the god transformation. At the 9th transformation, after absorbing the immortal gold, the golden elixir is flawless, and has strong combat power. At the 10th transformation, Absorbing the laws of the immortal world and transforming the golden elixir can improve the cultivator's bloodline and increase the upper limit of potential. At the 11th transformation, with the help of the power of the heaven, condensing the supreme fate, you can get the favor of fate. At the 12th transformation, you can peek into the long river of fate, change your destiny, and choose a bright and promising destiny branch for yourself. The first 10 transformations are mainly to strengthen the golden elixir, improve physical fitness and potential, and increase the upper limit of potential. The last 2 transformations are mainly related to the improvement of fate, destiny, luck, and the favor of fate. After entering the 12th turn of the golden elixir, the cultivator's divine object will be hidden, automatically lowered to the 9th turn of the golden elixir, giving outsiders a feeling of great damage to their vitality and a feeling of failure in the attack. But in essence, it is still the 12th turn of the golden elixir. The combat effectiveness of the 12th turn of the golden elixir will be lower than that of the 10th turn of the golden elixir, giving people a feeling of I'm weak. But in the later years, it will continue to make up for it, blooming with terrifying potential and having supreme luck. Finally, it's done. The 12th turn of the golden elixir is the end. There is no so-called 13th turn. Standing up, Xuanji sensed himself, and an unprecedented confidence rose up. Swallowing a golden elixir, my fate is determined by myself. Ordinary golden elixir cultivators cannot control their own destiny at all. Even the gods, the refining void, and even the immortals are also helpless. But when a cultivator reaches the 12th turn of the golden elixir, he has the opportunity to control his own destiny. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372, Pure Yang Order, Threat. The ki in his body was changing. Xuanji felt the changes in the golden elixir. The golden elixir was beating, as if it was giving birth to an unparalleled demon god. When the golden elixir was broken and turned into a nascent soul, it was the moment when the demon god was born. A sense of joy rose in his heart, as if destiny was in his hands. At this moment, he seemed to be the son of destiny, the darling of the heavens. The 12 transformations of the golden elixir will not improve the blood of the cultivator, the qualifications of the cultivator, or the upper limit of the cultivator, but it will give the cultivator the opportunity to gain insight into the long river of fate and the opportunity to change his fate against the will of heaven. Among the many branches of fate, he can choose a bright branch of fate and a bright future. Of course, the 12 transformations of the golden elixir and the addition of destiny do not mean that it will inevitably succeed and become an immortal. If on the way forward, the character defects continue to magnify and encounter strong enemies and snipers, it may also fall halfway. There are still many cultivators who have condensed the 12 transformations of the golden elixir. But at the moment of the 12 transformations of the golden elixir and the addition of destiny, the ki becomes extremely strong, and it is easier to succeed. Hey, they disappeared. Xuanji looked around the Dongshan Pearl, only to find that Yuan, Ningzu and others had disappeared. He only deduced for a moment, and came to some conclusions. There was a big battle outside, a beast tide, but the scale of the beast tide was a bit large, and there was a life and death battle. Yuan, Ningzu and others all disappeared and went to support the battle on the front line. Swish. The next moment, Xuanji walked out of the Dongshan Pearl. Hiding his body, he looked outside and saw that a big battle was happening outside. The terrifying energy was erupting, and the terrifying shockwave swept around, and the destructive force smashed everything. The mountain was shaking violently, and it seemed to collapse at any time. The formation group near Xiang Mountain was broken by more than half. Most of the monsters attacked continuously, as if the sea tide was half sweeping in, suppressing, submerging everything, and tearing everything apart. In the sky, the nascent soul cultivators clashed with each other. The sword energy of destruction impacted. The black and white long swords fought in all directions. The flames were boiling, the sea of blood was spreading, and the dark clouds suppressed. In the violent energy collision, one figure after another flashed. The speed was very fast, extremely fast, faster than the speed of visual capture. so fast that a shadow and the void connected together, so fast that it was indescribable. In such a high-speed fight, cultivators below the nascent soul stage had no chance to participate. In such a fast movement, many trump cards and killing moves, etc., if the speed is not fast enough, are useless and redundant. You can't say to the enemy, give me 10 seconds to accumulate momentum, I want to hold back a big move. Not to mention 10 seconds of accumulation time. There is not even 1 second of accumulation time. Xuanji is fighting against the nascent soul big demon, 1 against 3, not at all inferior, and vaguely has the upper hand. The 3 big demons on the opposite side are all injured. Is this the nascent soul battle? I'm not as good as it. Xuanji commented on the battle, and was also thinking about his own shortcomings. After the 12th transformation of the golden elixir, his mana has reached 5000 Xuanji, far surpassing many top beasts. His mana is seriously over the standard, far surpassing the nascent soul cultivators. But in terms of speed, combat skills, types of magical arts, and the killing moves of the secret arts, he is much inferior. If they fight together, he can certainly defeat some weak nascent soul true lords, but it is impossible to kill them. If you can't kill the enemy, just defeat the enemy. Such a battle is meaningless. On the ground, the golden elixir cultivators fight each other, the purple mansion cultivators fight each other, and the foundation cultivators fight each other. Both sides have cultivators dying all the time. There are many formations in Xiang Mountain, but if you only rely on the formations in the tortoise shells to resist, there will be a time to break. The best thing is to take the initiative to attack. When weakening the enemy with the help of the formation, you must also attack and weaken the enemy's living strength, so that you can hold on. The two sides fought, and the battle was extremely tragic. But what really determines the outcome is the victory or defeat of the nascent soul strongman. Just like in the high-tech era, when two countries go to war, it is not about which country has more troops, more weapons, more tanks, and more artillery, but about which country has more high-tech weapons. In the era of cultivating immortals, the victory or defeat of the Yuanian cultivators determines the victory or defeat on the battlefield. There is a top-level strongman in the dark, spying here, and it seems that he is about to launch an attack. That is the peerless power of the 9th level of the Yuanian. Xuanji sensed with his mind, and felt that there was an unparalleled strong man hidden in the void of the demon clan, hiding in the dark, mysterious and unknowable. Only because of his keen perception, he found a little trick. If this 9th level Yuanian demon took action, Xiang Mountain would inevitably collapse and fall, and even Xuanji might be defeated. Pure Yang Order, it's time to take action. Xuanji smiled, and the Pure Yang Order in his Danshan was activated, locking and aiming at the hidden Yuanian cultivator, and a breath of destruction locked him. It was like a nuclear bomb entering the launcher, and it only needed one button to blast out. In the void, a woman in red, hiding in the void, watched all this indifferently. The fight between the monsters and the human race on the ground was like a chess piece duel. Countless deaths could not cause her emotions to fluctuate. The nascent soul strongman stood above hundreds of millions of cultivators. In their eyes, those low-level cultivators were just ants. How could higher life shed tears for ants? Just like humans, eating chicken at KFC every day, eating millions of chickens, no human would feel unfair for the chickens, thinking it was natural. Just like humans, seeing the flood coming, countless ants would drown and died, and there would be no so-called emotional fluctuations. Just like the way of heaven in the dark, there is no good or evil, just let it go. There will be no compassion for the difficulties of sentient beings, nor will there be an impulse to destroy the world because of the curses and hatred of sentient beings. Good and evil are not in the heart, this is the supreme forgetfulness. True Lord Xiu, you are a peerless Avaldoer with the talent to become a god. I cannot spare you. You are destined to perish now, said the woman in red, with a flash of murderous intent in her eyes. She raised her white and tender right hand, ready to transform into a destructive energy and blast down. But at this moment, a destructive energy locked onto her, just like a crossbow locking onto a wild beast. Who is it? The woman in red had goosebumps all over her body, her heart was trembling, and she used her divine sense to sense everything. But the murderous aura became even stronger, as if the next moment, she would launch a peerless attack on her, and kill her with one blow. The woman in red changed her position and her aura, trying to get rid of the lock of that energy. Just like a pheasant, jumping, trying to avoid the lock of a crossbow. But it was useless. The aura changed several times, but the locked breath did not disappear. The murderous aura was pervasive. Once locked onto, blood would inevitably be seen. No matter how she dodged, she could not dodge. Chapter 373. The demon tribe is defeat. The war is over. Tick tock. Tick tock. The woman in red was terrified, sweat dripping down her face, and she felt death coming. After reaching the golden core stage, the cultivators were extremely sensitive to danger. It seemed that the next moment, the sharp sword would pierce her heart, and thousands of years of hard work would turn into nothingness. Could it be that a god of transformation wants to attack me? The woman in red thought. No, even if a god of transformation attacks me, I can only withstand 2 or 3 moves, and then run away. It must be a top level god of transformation. Only such a strong man can give me the feeling of a 100% death. God of transformation has different strengths. The first level of god of transformation is god of transformation, and the 9th level of god of transformation is also god of transformation. But can their fighting power be the same? They are not at the same level at all. She is already the 9th level of Yuanying. When she encounters a strong man at the first level of god of transformation, even if she is defeated, she can fight for 3 or 5 moves and then run away. But the aura in the dark gave her the feeling that she could not dodge. It must be a high level god of transformation. Could it be the protector of Xiao's engine, or the trump card left by Liu Ayumozan, or the trump card left by Danliang Xianzhen? The red-clothed woman frowned, with a trace of fear in her eyes. The next moment, the murderous intent dissipated, as if it did not exist. The red-clothed woman did not hesitate, turned around and fled, running faster than a rabbit. The murderous intent just now was a warning from the senior. If you continue to be ignorant, you may die here. Retrieving the pure yang order, and sensing the disappearing figure, Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. The terrifying murderous intent on the pure yang order also converged. The pure yang order is a treasure refined by the pure yang Taoist. It contains the 3 offensive magical powers of the pure yang Taoist. As for the power, it is hard to say. But just now, he just activated the pure yang order, and a murderous intent locked onto the big demon. The big demon felt the crisis and disappeared. The real purpose of the pure yang order is to deter, not to directly launch an attack. Xuanji thought of the nuclear bomb in his previous life. In the past, some countries' nuclear bombs, from the time they were manufactured to the time they passed their shelf life and were destroyed, had never entered the actual combat state. But having nuclear bombs and not having nuclear bombs are 2 different concepts. Ukraine with nuclear bombs is very tough. Ukraine without nuclear bombs is very cowardly. No one dares to bet whether this nuclear power dares to launch a nuclear bomb. They can't afford to bet, and they can't afford to lose. Similarly, when he activated the pure yang order to lock the killing intent, the great demon of the 9th level of the nascent soul did not dare to bet whether this attack could kill her, and decisively chose to evacuate. The great demon of the nascent soul cherishes his life very much. Seeing that the situation is unfavorable, he immediately chose to retreat and run away. As for fighting for the demon clan, and fighting for glory, it can only be overthinking. These are all to fool the hot-blooded little demons. As for those 1,000-year-old demons, they have long passed the hot-blooded stage, and become extremely realistic and profit-oriented. Boom boom boom. The void is fighting, and both sides are fighting. After a long battle, Xiao's engine activated the black and white swords, which turned into a deadly light. The yin and yang kiss strangled it, and the life and death kiss strangled it. The golden crow monster was killed on the spot. The remaining 2 Yuanying monsters saw that the situation was unfavorable, and immediately turned into streams of light and disappeared. Puff. Xiao's engine also spit out a mouthful of blood. Her breath was waning, and she also lost the desire to pursue. If she continued to pursue, she might be surrounded by the monsters. In addition, she was also injured, so she should focus on recuperating and restoring her injuries. We lost. Let's evacuate. We lost. I'm not willing. The monsters that were like a tide despaired and began to retreat. Originally, most of the Xiang Mountain formation was broken, and the Xiang Mountain monks who were in desperate situation fought back. Although the number of Jiandan monks and Zifu monks was far less than that of the monsters, they were still chasing and killing with high momentum. Some Jiandan monsters were excited and began to fight back during the retreat. But soon, the black and white swords flashed, and the two swords of life and death came to kill, and the sword energy of destruction struck the Jiandan demon. The sword energy tore a Jiandan demon apart, and it fell on the spot. A Jiandan demon dodged and avoided the fatal blow. The originally neat counter-attack team became messy with the attack of Xiao's engine, as if it was chewed by a dog, and the formation was in chaos again. Many demons cursed Xiao's engine in their hearts for not being moral and bullying the weak. But they only dared to curse in their hearts. If they opened their mouths and were heard by Xiao's engine, they would be taken care of, and they would really die. I'm not willing to accept it. Brother, retreat. The Yuanying demons have all retreated. It's not shameful for us to run away. Brother, retreat. Many Jiandan demons said hello and retreated, feeling aggrieved, but they had to retreat. The demons were defeated, and countless foundation building demons and purple mansion demons were killed along the way, and as for the key training demons below, they could not be counted. Only the Jiandan great monsters evacuated more, because they protected each other, were the fastest to escape, had the most complete structures, and had various secret treasures. In the battle, only 8 Jiandan great monsters died. The monster race was defeated. The human cultivators chased and killed them, and only stopped chasing and killing them after they were thousands of miles away. Don't chase after a desperate enemy, and the main force of the monster race is still there. If they continue to chase and kill, they will suffer. The human cultivators were very happy to pick up the corpses of monsters on the ground. The inner pills of monsters can be used to refine foundation pills and purple palace pills. The fur of monsters can be used to make talismans. The bones of monsters can be used to make bone forging pills. The flesh and blood of monsters can be used to cook delicious food. Frequent consumption of the flesh and blood of monsters can improve the speed of cultivation. In addition, the corpses of human cultivators on the ground are also being collected. Many corpses are bloody or broken, and they must be collected and buried properly. Then, the main cultivators of Xiang Mountain began to walk and began to count the military exploits. Meritorious soldiers and monks who have killed many monsters should be heavily rewarded. Those monks who died in battle should also be given pensions and various subsidies. As for those monks who escaped from the battlefield and were afraid to move forward, they should also be severely punished. All of these must be carefully counted and reviewed, so that everyone can be convinced, and rewards and punishments are clear. All of these require a long period of statistics. Puff. At this moment, Xuanji has returned to the cave, practicing the exercises, and starting to heal. Since ancient times, there have been no ordinary people in the nascent soul stage. The monks who have entered the nascent soul stage are either peerless geniuses, monsters, or have had great adventures. 3 nascent soul monsters attacked her, and although she won, she was also seriously injured and needed to rest for a while. At this moment, Xuanji walked in and said, "You are injured. Let's have a double day off. I have a method of double days off to help you heal." Xuanji blushed, but nodded and said, "Okay." Chapter 374 Success. When it comes to double cultivation, many mortals will have bad thoughts. They think that a man and a woman are going to have sex on the bed again. In fact, this idea is wrong. In the world of cultivating immortals, the so-called double cultivation is more about putting palms together. The true key flows in the bodies of both parties, and the exercises are operated like mixed origin. In such mixed origin, the cultivation level will be improved, the foundation will be improved, and the life potential will be improved. At this moment, Xuanji was seriously injured. If he was treated by normal means, it would take a long time to recover, and there might be some hidden dangers. However, if he and Xuanji practiced yin and yang, the true ki would flow into mixed origin, the healing speed would be improved, and the recovery speed of the injury would be accelerated. On the bed, Xuanji stretched out his hands and pressed against Xuanji's hands. "This time, I will take the lead," Xuanji said. "Okay." Xuanji nodded. Lu Xuanji activated yin-yang transformation, and the yin and yang qi immediately flowed between the two people, especially the pure yang qi in his body, which was a great tonic for the female cultivator. After just one cycle of circulation, Xuanji felt her body was comfortable, as if she had taken a high-quality elixir, and her body was warm. After being injured, her slightly pale face also had a hint of redness, like a blooming flower. Is this the pure Yang Dao body? It is simply a supreme physique, which is very beneficial for female cultivators. Xuanji thought in her heart. Before she experienced it, she felt that the pure Yang Dao body was just that, but only after experiencing it, she would discover its beauty. She has the immortal sword body, which is a top-notch physique, but this physique is good in attack, but it is relatively average in healing and cultivation speed. Crash, crash. At the beginning, Lu Xuanji could not control the rhythm, and the speed was a little slow, but gradually the speed was accelerating. The magic power was flowing in the bodies of the two people, the yin and yang energies were flowing, and the whole body felt indescribably comfortable. How rich is the pure yin energy on the body of a female cultivator of the nascent soul. As the true energy circulates, waves of pure yin energy also enter the golden elixir, tempering the golden elixir again and again. The golden elixir absorbs the pure yin energy and beats slightly, like an egg about to break its shell. The pure yang energy and pure yin energy flow in the golden elixir. The energy of the five element, the energy of the primordial magnetism, the energy of the stars, the energy of the innate five greats, the energy of the five declines of heaven and man, etc., are all circulating in the golden elixir. Various energies are impacting and colliding with each other, and the sharpness disappears a lot, becoming more and more round and more free and easy. Whoosh. As the magic power circulates, the pure yin energy enters the body, and the feeling of comfort increases. Solitary yin cannot be born, and solitary yang cannot exist. Only when yin and yang complement each other, and yin and yang are derived, can the golden elixir be round. The golden elixir is in operation, creating birth and death, and the magic power is undergoing a new round of purification, and the quality of the magic power is slowly improving. Sitting upright on the bed, with only one day off, Xuanji's injuries recovered a little bit. After a month, Xuanji's injuries had healed. But Xuanji was still sticking together. This state was addictive, just like drinking fine wine, never tired of it. A year later, Xuanji asked, Xuanji, do you like me or King Lion? Another fatal question. Lu Xuanji said, I like both. Xuanji said, then I'll let her accompany you. Activating yin-yang illusion body, Xuanji was instantly split into two. One was Ziyu Dao Jun, and the other was King Lion Dao Jun. Ziyu Dao Jun, white clothes like snow, gentle personality, like the supreme sword cultivator. One sword breaks through eternity, one sword cuts the mortal world. But King Lion Dao Jun, black clothes like a witch, with mischievousness in his bones, with mockery of the world. One carries the immortal sword body, and the other carries the heavenly demon body. One is on the road of immortality, and the other is on the road of demon cultivation. Husband. Just then, a black and a white man approached him. One hugged his left arm, and the other hugged his right arm. The same appearance, but different temperament, different personality, different taste. The feeling was wonderful. Finally, everything came naturally and everything changed. Like a small bridge in flowing water, like a warm spring breeze, Lu Xuanji fell into double happiness. Immersed in it again. A month later, Lu Xuanji finally walked out of the cave. Finally, the right result was achieved. Dong dong dong. In the Danshan, the golden elixir was gestating, and it seemed that it was about to be conceived. It was still a while away. However, he was not in a hurry. Everything had to come naturally. Don't be deliberate. Premature babies are not good. It's better to be naturally outstanding after 10 months of pregnancy. Hello, sir. Just then, Liu Rumeng stepped forward and said, this is the latest account book, with rewards for cultivators, pensions, harvests, etc. Lu Xuanji opened the account book, kept calculating, and asked for some information. Liu Rumeng responded. Just like this, a long time passed. Looking at the account book, it was another combination problem, and Lu Xuanji was happy. In this battle, defeating the monsters, just the monster corpses alone would be a huge harvest, excluding rewards and pensions. It would also be a huge fortune. Sure enough, the most profitable business in the world is to start a war. Of course, the premise is to win the war. If in the war, Xiang Mountain was breached by the fleeing monsters, everyone might all die, and then there would be no need to fill in any false pensions and rewards. Distribute the rewards, Lu Xuanji said. Yes. Liu Rumeng nodded and began to distribute rewards and pensions. The beast tide has receded, and we can enjoy a period of peace again. Lu Xuanji smiled, sensing the situation issue. The beast tide receded not long ago. The monsters suffered countless casualties, and the human race also died countless deaths. With more deaths and more monsters, some cultivation resources were saved. The surviving human and monster cultivators have a lot of rewards and pensions, and their cultivation will also enter the fast lane. In the war, constantly polishing the mind and will, the state of mind, has obviously improved a lot, far beyond the flowers in the greenhouse. Flowers can grow in a greenhouse, but trees cannot. The role of a nascent soul cultivator is better than that of 10 golden core cultivators. The role of a divine transformation cultivator is even greater than that of many nascent soul cultivators. With many resources and a smooth environment, only some geniuses can be cultivated. Only war and bloodshed can give birth to some peerless monsters. Chapter 375 The current situation of the Lu family. Thinking about the future. At this moment, a sweet voice came. Husband. King Lian Daojun, who was wearing a black dress and looked like a witch, came. She kept approaching and sat on him, looking like a little bird. Husband, do you like me or her? King Lian Daojun asked again, and there was charm in her words, like a gentle music. Listening to the soft voice, Lu Xuanji thought of the fierce battle on the bed, one on the left and one on the right. The war continued. That soft picture and that charming body are endless aftertaste. By the way, are you alright? Lu Xuanji asked. I want more. King Dian Zhenjin said, a little emotional. This place is not suitable. This is the office. This is very good. You men will like this tune soon. Which, don't slander me. No, you are just that kind of person. The war broke out again, but the battlefield was constantly changing, moving from one place to another. The formation of the whole was running, and it was difficult for the outside world to see everything here. After a long time, the war ended. The two cleaned up everything, and returned to their sanctimonious appearance. You two, just keep separating like this? Lu Xuanji asked. It's good to separate like this. King Dian Zhenjin said, the essence of the two yin and yang illusion body is that the body is divided into two. One carries evil thoughts, one carries good thoughts, one carries reason, and one carries emotions. In theory, the higher the realm of fusion, the greater the benefit. But since King Dian is only the 7th grade, at most we have reached the peak of refining emptiness, and we have to merge together. But with my qualifications, there is still some hope for transformation, but not much hope for refining emptiness. Thinking about some future problems, King Lian Daojun just felt a headache and simply stopped thinking about it. Have you entered the 10th turn of the golden elixir? King Lian Zhenjin asked. It's impossible to say. Lu Xuanji said with a smile. It's impossible to say. King Lian Zhenjin pondered. Have you taken a step further? Taking a step further is the 11th turn of the golden elixir. But does that realm exist? She has never heard of a genius entering the 11th turn of the golden elixir, and she has never heard of it. Don't say it. Lu Xuanji said. In this world, there are causes and effects in the dark. Similarly, for some things, you can just think about them in your head, but never say them out loud. Because the moment you open your mouth to speak, some existence will know and eavesdrop. King Dian Zhenjin nodded and said, I understand. In the universe, some things involve taboos in the dark, so it is best not to ask, not to say, and not to inquire. How long will it take you to enter the nascent soul? King Dian Zhenjin asked. It will take another 100 years. Lu Xuanji said. 100 years is a bit long. King Dian Zhenjin said, after 100 years, you will be 700 years old. Is a 700-year-old nascent soul old? Not at all. Lu Xuanji smiled faintly. My path of cultivation does not seek speed, but stability. King Lian's engine was speechless, and it was indeed stable enough. In the past, some cultivators were 500 years old and became great masters of the Dao, and 1,000 years old and became immortals. This is the youngest record of becoming an immortal in history. There are also some geniuses who are 100 years old and a 200-year-old nascent soul, and their speed is also very fast. But Lu Xuanji was in his 50s when he established his foundation, 190 when he reached the Purple Palace, 430 when he reached the Golden Core, and 700 when he reached the nascent soul. This speed is not fast, but rather slow, but it is steady. He has come to this point step by step without too many setbacks. The two were intimate again, and after being close for a long time, they separated. True Lord King Lian was also going to retreat. After another moment of searching, Yuanyi was in retreat, consolidating her foundation. Ningzhu was also in retreat, sorting out her harvest. Everyone was very busy. On the contrary, Lu Xuanji seemed a little bored. At his level, retreat was useless. He only needed to wait 100 years later for the Golden Core to mature and transform into the nascent soul. Then, face the three tribulations of the nascent soul. Somewhat bored, Lu Xuanji left Xiang Mountain and returned to the Lu family. After experiencing the beast tide, the Lu family suffered a lot of losses, but they were not hurt at all. When it was time for the Lu family cultivators were rebuilding, repairing the damaged formations, tidying up the destroyed spiritual fields, and cleaning up the collapsed mountains and bumpy ground during the war. The Lu family was busy and full of vitality. Meet the clan leader. The clan leader is back. Clan leader, you are a great cultivator of the Golden Core, and you have a good chance of becoming a nascent soul in the future. I wonder if I can become a Golden Core. That's a Golden Core, which can live for 1,000 years. The clan leader is still young, with black hair like ink and white clothes like snow, like an immortal, but I'm old. When everyone saw the clan leader return, they stopped their work and went to pay their respects. The work was too busy for a while, but the clan leader was rarely seen. Many young cultivators came forward and looked at the clan leader eagerly, as if they were looking at a living myth or a living totem. It has been almost 2,000 years since the birth of the Lu family. The ancestor of the Lu family relied on the cultivation of the second level of foundation building to open up the Lu family. Later, a Purple Mansion master was born, and the Purple Mansion family was formed. In the middle, there were constant ups and downs, and several times the family was wiped out, and it was difficult to rebuild. The Lu family has a total of 3 Purple Mansion masters. In Qingshu County, it is considered a local tyrant, but in the land of Chu, it is ordinary. But it was not until the birth of Lu Xuanji, the head of the Lu family, that the Lu family entered the takeoff stage, leading the Lu family to break the class shackles and enter the Jiandan family. Up to now, the Lu family has 3 Jiandan cultivators, more than 200 Purple Mansion cultivators, and more than 10,000 foundation building cultivators. As for the key refining cultivators, there are so many that they are no longer within the scope of statistics. The Lu family is unprecedentedly prosperous. With the prosperity of the Lu family, resources have increased, and the difficulty of breaking through the level of cultivation has also decreased. It is good to lean on a big tree to enjoy the shade. Because of the big tree of the Lu family, many cultivators have been sheltered, and the road is broad and there is a bright future. Hello everyone. Lu Xuanji also stopped and greeted. Many cultivators came forward to pay their respects, and some younger cultivators even knelt on the ground and called him the ancestor directly. After kneeling several times in a row, these younger cultivators stood up. Lu Xuanji wanted to go forward to say hello, but found that many faces were unfamiliar, and most cultivators could not recognize them. Time makes people grow old. Under the baptism of time, many familiar faces have passed away or died in disasters. With the replacement of generations, there are fewer and fewer familiar people. On the road of cultivating immortals, only a few people can live forever. After greeting and saying some meaningless clichés and nonsense, Lu Xuanji said goodbye to everyone after a long time. Arriving at the hall, he saw the elder. "How are you recently?" the elder asked. "Not bad." Lu Xuanji said, "It's only one step away from the nascent soul. The elder must work hard." "I will work hard." The elder said, "I have a lifespan of 2,000 years. If I can't become a nascent soul cultivator, wouldn't it be a waste? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.